Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream.
Oh my god.
In our defense, like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer.
Look at the description. Thanks for the creators who helped put this together. Hasan, Denims, Sean the Black threatened to kill me, by the way. Never got banned from Twitch for it. Frogan, Kirk Honda, Psychology in Seattle, Noah Sampson, Matt Lieb. Oh my god. This might be the most soy cast of people I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Holy shit.
Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far, because they have mobilized.
It's just sad that Ethan is now under attack by like the entire world of online politics slop because he, I guess, doesn't repeat the pro-Pally talking points verbatim, so it's not enough. So now he's going to be cast as basically an anti-Semitic, or not anti-Semitic, but I guess a pro-genocidal insane person for the rest of his life, and this is just going to contribute to that.
Harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
What we do here is go back.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the Hasan broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys grow.
It's so sad how much these guys were allowed to just like mind f the entire internet. It's just crazy how effective it all worked out. Jesus.
And MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do, because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true.
Is this like uniquely recorded for this, or was this a stream? I have no idea.
Importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream.
Oh my god.
Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up.
Since anyone?
Just wake up.
I truly do believe that like the most difficult thing about doing online content creation today, if you're even slightly political, I wouldn't even say Ethan is political, is like trying to maintain your sanity with this group of people active on the internet. Like, it's just, holy, how do you not, I mean, I guess I don't, huh? I should ask myself. How do you not go f***ing crazy? How do you hold on to, how can you tell when you're incorrect about things? Because nobody's perfect. You do have to course correct at times, right? You're not perfect. Like, how do you maintain that while also realizing that not all of the unhinged, insane criticism people like this about you are necessarily valid? Like, Jesus.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan. Just wake up.
I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hasan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who attacked first.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up.
So go f yourself.
I agree.
All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast, with what's been going on over the past couple of years. So Ethan, as you know, is
Stop with the linking of his thing where he says he's gonna quit. Why do you guys take every fucking bait that you see on a YouTube podcast? Please stop spam linking and talking about this in my chat. Yes, H3 has a title coming up later on saying that he's quitting YouTube. It's probably a troll, it's probably a bait. Why do you guys post this in chat? Be like, oh my god, you're quitting? Stop, Jesus.
a content creator who has a podcast where he says all sorts of outrageous stuff. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's f***ed up. He's had shows with all sorts of different controversial characters. He's had a show with Trisha Paytas. He's had a show with Hasan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hasan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hasan was very well equipped to talk about that topic.
Palestinian people living in the West Bank are subject to these horrific conditions, horrific living conditions by the state of Israel, America's greatest ally and the only democracy in the Middle East, if you ask Republicans and even liberals.
Well, that dance he invented was so kick-ass.
Israeli settlers are trying to evict Palestinian families in occupied East Jerusalem. The United Nations says that that may be a war crime. It literally is.
I was just eating the toppings. And the pizza looked like a burn victim. It was all disgusting.
I don't know if you can make that joke in 2021.
Why?
It's insensitive to burn victims.
I think it's a good analogy. It's a powerful image.
Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic. Ethan was obviously caught in this tricky situation where he is extremely sympathetic to the Israeli cause and what's happening to them. His wife's Israeli, she served in the IDF. He obviously likes the state of Israel. On the other hand, he's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hasan. Hasan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see—
I like how our opening is literally, well, let's explain Ethan's motivations. So Ethan's motivations are that his wife is Israeli and he's sympathetic to the Israeli cause. So now that we know that Ethan's motivations are just purely self-driven, now let's begin the analysis. Okay, dude.
See Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it out.
From the river to the sea essentially means the state of Israel is going bye-bye.
So this massive progressive audience—
Okay, that's true. From the river to the sea means that there will be a one-state solution in which Palestine is all of Israel. That's what that means. Anybody that says differently doesn't deserve to have an opinion on this topic. If you don't know what it even means, why would you even think that you're worth talking about it? That is exactly what it means. Now, white people like Hasan Piker or other losers like Frogan in the West might tell you that's not what it means. Go to Palestine, go to Israel and ask them. They'll tell you that that's what it means. Only people in the West pretend that that's not what that means. That's exactly what it means.
That Ethan has, adopted over the years, they're becoming increasingly critical of his position because now he's talking about it not on Leftovers, he's now talking about it on his podcast.
What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hasan and you hear all these fucking mega lefties talking about it like it's some super racist, crazy, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
Where it's going to be the exact same clip. There's no political analysis. There's just never any real political analysis, ever. There's never any real political analysis. It's always the exact same thing without even taking into account the fact that Ethan, well, maybe he'll say, who knows, maybe he'll say it.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hasan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits.
Just as a quick thing, okay, because I'll just start Googling and sharing sources, since all these fucking retards are so uneducated and so ignorant. And if you even cared about any of these issues, you wouldn't treat it as like the little drama slop football that these loser do, okay? The guys who pray for dead Palestinian and Israelis so they can make more internet slop content about it, okay? Give me 2 minutes. We're reading this. November 5th, 2024, Benjamin Netanyahu fires Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, who is that's like their head military guy, all right? Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister in Israel, that's their head leader guy, okay? Fires Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, replace him with Israel Katz, okay? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday dismissed his popular defense minister Yoav Gallant in a surprise announcement that came as the country is embroiled in wars on multiple fronts across the region. The move sparked protests across the country. Netanyahu and Gallant have repeatedly been at odds over the war in Gaza, but Netanyahu had avoided firing his rival before taking the step as the world's attention was focused on the U.S. presidential election. Netanyahu cited significant gaps and a crisis of trust between the men in his Tuesday evening announcement. Quote, "In the midst of a war, more than ever, full trust is required between the prime minister and defense minister," end quote. Netanyahu said, "Unfortunately, although in the first months of the campaign, there was such trust and there was very fruitful work, during the last months, this trust cracked between me and the defense minister." In the early days of the war, Israel's leadership presented a unified front as it responded to Hamas's October 7th, 2023 attack. But as the war has dragged on and spread to Lebanon, key policy differences have emerged.
Old style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is
the really good guy. So should she describe him as that? Maybe not, but we continue. While Netanyahu has called for continued military pressure on Hamas, Gallant has taken a more pragmatic approach, saying that military force has created the necessary conditions for at least a temporary diplomatic deal that could bring home hostages held by the militant group. Many of the families of the hostages, along with tens of thousands of people who have joined anti-government protests, accuse Netanyahu of scuttling a deal in order to maintain his hold on power. Netanyahu's hardline partners have threatened to bring down the government if he makes concessions to Hamas, raising the risk of early elections at a time when the prime minister's popularity is low. The reason why Gallant was fired is because Gallant thought that the conditions had been created such that they could ease off the military pressure. I think at the time they were talking about doing a blockade of food into Gaza, into northern Gaza. I believe that was the case. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was the case. And Netanyahu fired him. He was like, "I need somebody more aggressive. This, you're out bringing somebody more aggressive," and that's why he dismissed Yoav Gallant. That's why they both refer to him as like, "Oh, wasn't he a good guy? Was he a good guy? Maybe, maybe not." Obviously, if you hate Israel and everything they do, you say no. But that was why he was fired, and that's what Ela specifically was referring to there. But don't let any of the context of any of this get into the way, other than Jew bad and Palestinian good, I guess, for all of your brilliant political foreign policy analysis from the whitest and most uneducated dipshits in the fucking world telling you about this issue.
The other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
So Ethan is having this back and forth with his liberal audience, leftist people online, progressive content creators, Hasan, all of these different people. He's finding new people every day, basically, to get in fights with.
Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, Frogan and Denims and all these dipshits, and everybody thinks this guy's awesome, apparently. Even though he looks like Milhouse, fucking dork. Denims, by the way, was the real villain of the video. Evil, hateful, fucking... And I'll say it and I'll double down on it. And people... Oh, no?
No,
not go there?
And it's all culminated, at least for my story, in Ethan burning bridges with people until he burned the bridge with me. Since Ethan and Hasan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. So that's been my approach. I've occasionally thrown a joke Ethan's way in the form of Hasan Piker versus Ethan Klein for boxing.
I like iDubbbz. He's a good guy, but I don't like this stupid. It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. And also he's way out of my weight class.
He didn't like that, but fucking sometimes you gotta just throw something out there. I used to work with this video editor named Froggy Tonic. I discovered him because he was in the circles online that I was in. And one of those circles is an H3 fan. He watched Ethan's content, he liked Ethan's content, until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed, my old friend. Some wings are too bird feathered, colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year.
Wait, what, how did he care?
A Froggy tweet where I'd be Ethan's content until he didn't like Ethan's content. There would be an occasional Froggy tweet where I'd be like, I agree with that, you know? Like, I'm not gonna endorse it, I'm not gonna retweet it or like it, but fair enough.
I guess I just missed my old friend.
So this is part of the Hasan gaslighting strategy that I guess iDubbbz and everybody else on the internet has now dragged Ethan into and like to pile on, right? This is not real criticism of a person's position. What I saw is that Ethan is very much prone to anxiety and stress, and having loads of people on his head was a lot. He didn't leave room for self-questioning. Instead, going in instant defense mode caused it because it going in instant defense mode because it challenged too much of his belief and experience. Feels fair but immature. This is not a legitimate tweet that legitimately, you know, criticizes Ethan for a position he has. Every single thing, because these guys are illiterate, they don't know any of the actual history, they don't know any of the foreign policy, they don't really have any information at all of these are ad hominem attacks, questioning the sanity of the person that they're disagreeing with. Because in their worldview, the only people that can disagree with them are people that must be insane. That's how it works. It's crazy making, really. But that's what all of these motherfuckers do. All of these motherfuckers do this. And that's what this is right here.
Two bird feathered colored.
Now that brings us to February 28th of this year. Now my former editor of a year and a half ago did say some truly mean shit. He called Hila the C word, he said they're trying to kill their dog with cheddar cheese, and a bunch of other shit, I'm sure. Ethan, at some point, discovers that iDubbbz's former editor says this horrendous shit about him and Hila. But no one's asking the question, where does Ethan get this information from? You see, it would be very obviously a problem if Ethan...
Is he gonna invoke me? Like, why not just address the information?
...was discovering this content by scrolling through Twitter looking for something to upset himself with. He has maybe set it up in such a way where his employees feel the need to send him this information. And that would be horrible. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be sending you things that are entertaining for your show that don't fucking trigger the hell out of you. Why is there so much work being put into discovering this guy on Twitter who's barely getting any interactions, linking him to me and posting on the Reddit, when there's no work being put into who the fuck is the person on the Reddit who's posting this in the first place? If you do a little bit of research, it seems like it's an account whose intention is to make Ethan crash out. One of the users on the Snark Reddit points this out. They're like, I've seen this account before. This account...
Okay, and then, so people have done this towards me, so I can speak to first-hand experience on all of this. The way that this works, the way that this ecosystem works is, the way that this all works is you have these side snark communities now, I guess is what they're called. You have these side snark communities and they engage in like doxing or debauchery or just the worst types of attacks that they can make on you. Then you have your, from that, you go to the next perimeter. Then it's your orbiters, your Denims and your Hasan Pikers and your larger communities like H3 Productions might be one of them. They're not necessarily snark communities, but they source all of their information from these snark communities in kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of way. And then your larger content creators like Hasan Piker will finally pick up on it and repeat it. And you have this whole ecosystem where what happens is your Hasan Pikers and your Denims and your McIntyres never make these accusations like directly, but they'll like wink, wink, nudge, nudge all of these side snark communities that are doing everything they can in order to be the most unhinged against you possibly ever. However, remember, if you wanted to say, fine, that's an okay way of doing things, right? Then fine. But when it comes to criticizing the other side, people will be like, oh, Ethan is evil because a guy in his community posted this one thing on Twitter, or because Ethan must get all his information from Destiny. Why isn't Ethan making Destiny moderate his community? Even though me and Ethan don't communicate at all, right? When it comes to looking at the other side, they have to analyze every single part, even on the most outer perimeters, the types of internet communities that exist. But for their own communities, it's, they just like, oh, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know when people said CPS, all about like what was shown in that Denims video, you know?
Has scraped its history, and it's now trying to make Ethan burn bridges. This is within Ethan's own community. Like, this is the thing that he needs to be critical of. It's not me. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up.
Like, nobody cared, and also, well, I don't want to speak for Ethan, but I think I can here. If Ethan is at anything even remotely close to an ordinary human being, the problem isn't people being mean or nasty. If people want to be mean or nasty, then fucking go for it. Who cares? Ethan's a big boy. He's been in there for a long time. I'm a big boy. I've been in there for a long time. The problem is that they never, ever, ever deal with any of the actual criticisms, none of the substance of anything. If you want to say like Destiny missed the entire first Intifada and doesn't understand the context of the second Lebanese Civil War, blah, blah, and that's why he's a fucking retard, like piece of shit. Okay, fine. That's great. That's fine. I don't care. Call me names. But at least there's like something of substance here as part of your criticism. But when it's just like, I don't think he's mentally okay. I think he's having a severe mental health crisis crash out. Like he needs to get help. That's not just being nasty. Like, and it's the same thing that people used to say when it came to girls and black people in video games when it was 2016 time. And they were like, why do black people care if you call them the N-word? Or why do women care if you're sexist? White people get insulted all the time. Yeah, but it's not the same kind of insult. And you know that. You know that you're being a retard when you're making this argument. But they've transplanted that argument one-to-one onto here, and they think it works.
Towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter. But Ethan and Hila are doing the same shit on their podcast. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
Terrorist supporter.
The CEO of Twitch.
Pedophile.
Now I'm going to watch.
Except, and it's not the same thing though. One, Hasan is a terrorist supporter. Verbatim, he's literally said it. Maybe iDubbbz has lost the ability to critically analyze any content, but Hasan wouldn't even disagree with that. When you say, do you support terrorists? He'll say, well, wasn't Nelson Mandela a terrorist? Implying that it's okay to support some terrorists. He's verbatim said this on multiple streams. He said he supports Hezbollah. He says that he was sad that Nasrallah died. Like he said this verbatim. You don't have to guess. This isn't even a smear. This isn't even slander. It's literally what he's explicitly said. And even if Ethan has made fun of other people or called them a pedophile or whatever, and you can argue that's mean or not mean, it's always paired with, here's some substantive criticism. This is why I don't like what this person has said. Here's where they're wrong about me, or here's where they mischaracterized me, and then, call them names or whatever afterwards. Which again, I'm sure Ethan would be fine with that. I'm fine with that. I think most people on the internet are to some extent fine with that.
And respond to the two podcast streams where Ethan and Hila call us spineless cowards.
Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on she's a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit. And that's showing up right up on us Nisa's and iDubbbz feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
Yep.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening?
This is it too. Also, this is the crazy maker, right? Well, I've never seen this before. I have no idea. I don't even know. Even though just earlier, iDubbbz was literally saying, "Oh yeah, I saw them fighting on Twitter. Oh yeah, I saw some of those tweets that he was copy pasting from that Froggy, whatever the fresh. I don't know what the fuck that guy's name had like 7 likes." You're telling me you're seeing stuff like that, but you had no clue? They always do this. Oh, I didn't see any of that. I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what's on my feed. What the fuck is happening? For all you know, I only use the For You tab. For all you know, I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not gonna throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment. Just like I'm not gonna throw Ethan Klein away because he's having a parasocial weird crash out.
How many?
He's not gonna throw him away. Maybe this content cop will end up being really nice about him in the end though. What does he mean by throw away? Because I feel like doing a fucking hit piece takedown video on somebody is kind of like that, but okay.
Women I fucked. Hasan, by the way, thousands. Yeah, thousands. Let me ask Galia. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Hasan's the type of dude who watches himself in the mirror when he has sex.
Watching me on a 30-second delay on your stream.
Wait, how does he know I'm watching already?
Because you've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like, this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done. And I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized.
And it's not, remember again, the standard, right? Like, oh, you're just mad because I'm following somebody who continues to engage in, oh, you're just mad. But when it's the other side, right, they're like, I need a full disavowal of every single thing, right? To do it for, I guess, to make it about myself, because I love doing that, right? If, in this perspective here, people are criticizing Ethan because he expects somebody publicly to defend him or say anything, you know, condemning some of the behavior. But, you know, it's like, well, why would you expect somebody to say that? Meanwhile, when my drama slot lawsuit shit has dropped, people are going to my girlfriend. People are going to every single person in my personal life saying, like, people who aren't even public figures, right? You need to do a full disavowal of you need to make public statements about how much you disavow, even for people that aren't even really public figures. So again, they'll say these things like, well, what do you expect people to do? Maybe they're just watching, they don't want to say anything. But if it was about like anti-Palestinian stuff, they'd be like, why haven't you made a public statement about this? Why haven't you publicly declared support for or said this particular thing? It's never, ever, ever the same standards. It's never the same standards on both sides.
Such an insane...
Yeah, remember their number one fucking calling card for shit like this. There's no such thing as a table with nine ordinary people and one Nazi. That's a table with 10 Nazis. That's what they say. These are their slogans, right?
Following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such...
Remember, I'm sorry, there's just so many examples of them doing this. Following someone on Twitter is about... Remember when PewDiePie gave a shout out to like fucking 100 YouTubers or some bullshit at the end of some video, and people went into one of the guys and found that he probably posted like Nazi propaganda slap dog whistle shit, and that was enough to call PewDiePie like a full-blown fucking Nazi? There was like this whole two-year period on the internet where PewDiePie was considered a full-on fucking Nazi because of this.
I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
I mean, I don't know what he's getting at here. Like, yeah, people are gaslighting you. A lot of people gaslit me when I apologized. That was actually like the #1 type of harassment I got, was people gaslighting me and taking my newfound woke ideology to its extreme.
I probably done and stood by iDubbbz and Anissa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the...
And it sucks too, and this is a hard thing as well. Now iDubbbz is doing it right now to Ethan, right? Is you can't point out the things that you do for anybody because people will just like say, oh, what, you want to be a you think you're a an angel? Or, oh, so just because you were nice to them, that means you can treat them like shit? Is that what you're saying? That because you're nice to somebody one time, now you get to treat them like a horse? Like, no, what the fuck? Are you serious?
The internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional.
See, there it is. You can't, I've thought about this exactly because there were some things that I wanted to say. I was like, I can't even say this. I can't even talk about how many careers I've built from all of these other people, or how many times I've like looked the other way on certain things, or how many times I, in the middle of the night in my trip to Amsterdam, coming onto Discord because I saw that Prime Kai's was getting like bullshit ass canceled for some accusation that wasn't remotely true, with nothing to gain for myself to come out of him, when I cited as the only person on the internet with like chud logic. I don't bring it because what the fuck is even the point, right? Because people are like, oh, so you think that they owe you something now? They think, no, what the fuck? So I can't say anything? Like, I like to view it the way they do in court, okay? If you're gonna bring up negative character evidence about me, well, fuck you. I should be allowed to bring up positive character evidence to rebut your characterization of me. If you don't want to talk about my character at all, and you just want to focus on the arguments, which they never do with Ethan, then fine, then focus on the arguments. But if you're going to sit here and impugn my character over and over again, well, of course I'm going to bring up things that I've done that are nice to people. What the But then if I do it, you say all of a sudden I'm angel making myself? Well, aren't you devil making me by accusing me of being mentally unwell, right? It's unhinged.
Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite
regardless
our
what we
own
say or do,
morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing, I don't need any
and like listen to, oh, it's just so much. It's all of these tactics. Everybody does all of this, right? Remember that, remember before, because they want to live in all the worlds at the same time. Remember before, what did iDubbbz say? iDubbbz said, I didn't even know anything about this. Like, I didn't see any tweets. Like, I didn't really know who was talking to who. I didn't have any information about this. And now it's, well, maybe I didn't want to say anything because these are about my personal morals. And these are about my morality. Well, what the is it then? So then you did actually agree with these things and you didn't want to say anything about it because you do think that he deserves to be called these. Like, just say that then. Own the argument at least. Own whatever the you want to say. Own it.
Halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he
oh my God. Is he gonna leak those text messages? I had some people say, I've had all sorts of varying responses to all sorts of dramas I've been in, especially my last one. I am so curious what that fucking text message looked like. Hey, I know you're getting a lot of heat right now from people who are crazy, making you, gaslighting you, calling you literally Hitler, and making cartoons and sharing them of your wife murdering Palestinian children indiscriminately. But I think there's a lot that you could learn here. And I think you really need to take a step back and listen to the criticisms. Like would iDubbbz have accepted that? Hey, maybe the fact that your wife does OnlyFans is a crazy feminazi fuck. Maybe that's the reason why you've gone so SJW, iDubbbz. Do you think he would have accepted that type of feedback in the heat of people like Sam Hyde and all these other people making what were truly disgusting attacks on iDubbbz and his character just because of Anissa? Like, do you think he would have been okay with that feedback? Like, it's so fucking insane. It's so stupid. Holy shit.
with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation.
Oh, God, fuck it so much. Yeah, that somebody in YouTube chat brings up. That's true. Wasn't part of Ian's last content cop saying he didn't want to do these at all? That even if the criticism was okay, didn't he say he didn't like it because people were getting harassed because of them, even if that wasn't his intention? But I guess we don't care about that now, huh? Sorry. Oh my God. All right.
Empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and Denims. As much as you...
What were the text messages? I would want to see those messages. I don't trust this guy's characterization at all.
Don't want halfway friends. I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
Could you not say something when this is like, imagine like one of you guys is like, Hasan actually wants to go to Israel, go to Gaza so he can strangle Israeli babies or some shit like that. I'd be like, you imagine me not saying something.
You're trying to make a one-to-one comparison where there isn't one. This guy that I follow on Twitter is not in the same relationship as you and one of your current employees who is streaming with you 3 days a week, 3 hours a day for the past 10 years. At one point during the stream...
Okay, so it has to be the exact... Like, the point still stands. The point is a legitimate point. Does it have to be the exact same type of relationship, I guess, though, to... Okay.
Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty.
Such a crazy fucking woman, oh my God. Hila Klein is a very dangerous and crooked woman. Okay. That's critical, by the way. Criticism usually it would imply some sort of actual substantive criticism. This is just ad homs and making fun of somebody, but okay.
Today, for the past 10 years, at one point during the stream, Ethan and Hila bring up Adam McIntyre. Now, Adam does basically the same thing as my former editor. He's critical of Ethan and Hila, and he is sometimes uncharitable and nasty towards them.
Adam McIntyre needs to just like disappear. That guy is a piece of shit, like of the lowest order. I never even stood by him when he talked bad about Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never be...
It's so crazy. And you're going to sit here and tear these people down and amplify all of the ad homs made against them. I'm not even going to mention the crooked woman. I don't know if that's a Jewish dog whistle or not. But then any times when he says, like, I don't know why this person is like going so hard on me. Like, I've literally, I haven't sided with this in the past, or I've been okay with it. Like, that's... You're not even allowed to bring that up? Give me a break.
About Trisha having a kid and called him like the spawn of Satan. He was supposedly on our side. I would never even co-sign that. I was disgusted by that statement too. I remember when he called her kid the spawn of Satan.
I never said anything
and
like
I was
that.
supposed to be like cheering on, but I wasn't going to cheer that on. That's disgusting.
Why do you forget that he called her children, which is something we would never do, the spawn of Satan?
It's disgusting.
And
a piece of shit of a human.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story. You know, it's really something.
Unfortunately,
well, I don't even think that was about Ethan? Wasn't that about the people who decided to speak up and say something? But whatever.
They never made a statement. They never said that they disagree with his statements about Trisha's baby until it's useful. Like, what is it, 3 years later? Like, I mean, you're talking about it like you were aware of it at the time and that there was some amount of pressure or enthusiasm for you to get down with that. And what it sounds like to me is that you did see it at the time and you were like, ooh, I don't like that. And you didn't endorse it and you didn't fuck with it. Huh. It's almost like that is a fucking identical situation to me.
It's just incredible who ends up being the good guys in this story, you know? It's really something.
So yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they're trying to like paint themselves as the good guys and they're saying like, yeah, we strongly disavow things that are said, even about our enemies. We are the most immoral people on the internet.
My guess is going to be, and I don't know because I don't follow their stuff, because I just don't watch history a lot, and I never did in the past. My guess is going to be those things weren't like on the fucking apocalyptic scale as the online Ethan hate, and this was just like a comment made in the, like, as part of their fighting with the Trisha. Although I don't know about the Trisha shit because like I said, I don't know anything about that. But it's possible that maybe they should have said something more here too, maybe. But also, these guys are doing this thing as well where, remember, they're saying things like, oh, well, like, I just didn't say anything. But oftentimes, it's not that these people aren't just saying anything and you know they disagree. It's that they aren't saying anything because they do agree. And I think with iDubbbz, I mean, now we're going to see that's obviously the case. It's not like he wasn't saying anything because he disagreed but he didn't want to get into it. He approved of it because he thinks that side is righteous and they are right to go in on them as hard as possible.
Unlike Ian and Anissa, who are fucking keeping to themselves. Also, why the fuck does Olivia get the pass?
What a fucking asshole for putting you in that position, Olivia. You're friends with him. And you don't have to say anything, but like, what a fucking piece of shit. What a bad friend to put you in that position just for some fucking clout. It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit, okay? Olivia did not do anything. And
I want the pass. Do I have to be an employee to get that treatment? Because then you'll just see me as an ally? Or is it because Ethan is afraid of wrongful termination accusations and lawsuits?
And also, I don't mind putting my friend Olivia, who's apparently my real friend, in a terribly weird, fucking uncomfortable situation where you end up getting hate for no reason.
Also, don't frame
I don't know. I can't speak. I don't know anything about the Olivia shit at all, so.
it as like other people making it hard on Olivia. You're making it hard on all of these people. Please acknowledge your role in this whole fucking thing. Like, it's crazy how warm Ethan is to Olivia and saying how Olivia is essentially just a victim in this whole thing.
It gets people angry at you, like, oh, how can she be friends with him? Which is total bullshit.
But me and Anissa are spineless. Ethan, your whole system is scrambled. My intention isn't to throw the employees under the bus. Like, you guys serve as the fucking foundation for calling out Ethan's hypocrisy on the whole subject. And I know that you guys have probably pushed back against Ethan over the years. How often are you supposed to do that? Do you have to do that every fucking week? It kind of seems like it. And that's exhausting. I don't want to confront my boss. It's not my fucking job to confront my boss and say, today's segment on rapists and pedophiles on Twitch was not my favorite segment to be a part of.
Yeah, friends like these.
Oh yeah, and our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anissa and Ian. Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times because, like, why would I not? It was crazy.
Yeah, why would you not? I mean, if that's truly what you believed and you weren't just going to use it later.
Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me.
I'm not going to assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar...
Oh my God. Oh my God, bro, are we really playing half Lebanese? What does that even mean? What is the relation there? Give me some lineage. What, she had like a great-great-grandfather who was born in Beirut, who was like a British, like, what do we, oh my God, kill me, bro. Kill me.
The Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the
Really? She was alive during the potato famine. She was alive during the, like, are we really, these are the claims to being intimately familiar with genocide that we're going with right now? Hello? Okay, dude. Yeah, what are we breeding? Like super genocide victims? What the fuck is this comparison? How gross. Kill me.
Shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me. No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean, like just the other day, BB fired a really good guy that a lot of people are pissed about.
He looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No.
Nice research there, buddy.
A lot of people are pissed about.
Israel warns can send Lebanon back to Stone Age as UN seeks de-escalation. Gallant says Israel can inflict massive damage as UN humanitarian chief says war would be potentially apocalyptic. Where is the date for this? Like, you know that there's by the way, people that don't actually know anything about history or know anything about anything really, they always play wacky games with timelines, and they pretend that like something that happened in 1920 can easily be transposed to 1947, or something that was said at the beginning of a war or right before war can be easily transposed to a year or two into the war. It's one of the most anti-intellectual ways to analyze historical events or world affairs. It's so stupid.
Looked mean. I thought he was mean just because he looked mean.
No, it's not.
So yes, you caught us. We're not gonna run to your defense when, I don't know, we follow people.
Also, and I'll say this too, this is so stupid, it's such a waste of fucking time. Nobody needs you to defend them ideologically. They're probably just looking for character defenses. I understand all these people are disgusting, spineless hack fucks, but nobody is looking for you to say, hey, I agree with Ethan Klein. He's right about fucking everything. What they would probably be looking for, is just something along the lines of like, wow, Ethan and Hila are saying a lot of stuff right now that I don't necessarily agree with relating to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but I really wish people wouldn't go so hard on them personally. I think it's a little bit gross that people are going in on them like this. And regardless of whether we agree or disagree on this particular thing, I just don't think it's right that people are making these types of attacks. That's all people are looking for generally. And you know this, because I'm sure you feel the same way about all the Anissa accusations. You should know this intimately. And I guarantee you, without ever having spoken to Ethan in my life, this is how Ethan feels about this. He's probably, I doubt he's looking for people to be like, I agree with Ethan Klein and every single fucking thing. I agree with all their takes and all different. It's probably just more like, hey, people are being a little bit fucking unhinged.
Well, we be following. That's one fucked up thing that you can say about Anissa and I is when we're on Twitter, we do be following.
So
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims is actually participating in this whole child protective service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because...
Doesn't this kind of feel like high school drama attitude though? Yeah, but I mean like the largest figure in this side, right, is Hasan Piker, right? Who is he approaches these kind of like international politics or political disagreements as you would if you were like TMZ or doing drama slop content basically, right? Because Hasan isn't smart enough or educated enough to respond with substance to any of the points that people bring up. So he has to turn all of it into these like wacky and crazy ad hominem attacks.
Because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Kind of a tricky situation. How can you possibly think that they're both good people at their core? People can have crash out moments. People can say things that they don't mean. People can say things because they want internet clout and attention. I don't know, I think they're both probably guilty of saying things that they don't mean for internet clout and attention.
Like it's all the same. It's all the both sidesing. It's all the everybody makes mistakes and you know they've both said things that maybe they shouldn't and LOL it's always this.
Right now one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me than the other.
I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't.
Bullshit. There is zero chance. This is a lesson, by the way, that I had to learn somewhat recently, I guess, is that you shouldn't have friends like this. If somebody is able to maintain like a super positive relationship with somebody that is just an unhinged hater of yours, not somebody who disagrees with you, but like that's a level of self-respect that you should have. You should say, I don't want to associate with this person anymore. I'm good on this. I don't need to be friends with this person. I would be shocked if Ian is friends with anybody who says that Anissa, the OnlyFans whore, is the one who changed Ian's mind about everything politically. I would be shocked if he was still friends with people like that. I would be shocked if Anissa would be okay with it, and I would be shocked if he would be okay with it. There's a difference. He's living in both worlds. Like, oh, I'm friends with people who have disagreements. Why can't you be friends with people who have disagreements? We're not talking about simple disagreements. We're talking about unhinged levels of ad homs and personal attacks for months, years at this point.
With the other friend, but there is someone in the middle.
Like, listen, oh, you just don't f with the other friend, LOL.
So I already forgot about you.
I actually have a lot of friendships that are kind of that way, where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't with the other friend.
Aren't you friends with Myron? He's 10 million times worse than Denims. I'm friendly with Myron, but Myron is literally like one of the only people I've actually met online who will actually, you know, like stand up for somebody and say like, oh, you know, this guy's a friend, even if he makes a mistake. I think he actually had a thing. I didn't show it on stream on his streamer. Where he was talking about my related situation. He was like, hey, listen, if a friend ever does something, you talk to him privately. You say, hey, bro, you fucked up. You know, I disagree with this, but I'm not going to come out and like publicly trash you for it because there's no reason to do it. And, you know, like when a friend, it's that one quote, right? When a friend makes a mistake, the mistake is a mistake, but the friend remains a friend or whatever. But internet content creators are so clout poisoned and so internet community mind that they're incapable of having this position. It's impossible.
Friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separate.
Didn't Myron shit on Melina when you two were married for her Instagram and OnlyFans stuff? Not only was it not Myron, it was one of their employees. And Myron got so upset over that because he wanted me and Melina to come on and wanted to maintain good relationships with us that he made that employee apologize to Melina and me over that incident. So
is some that way where it's like, you know, one of the friends doesn't fuck with the other friend, but there is someone in the middle who kind of fucks with both of them, but separately. Yeah, there's a lot of friendships that are like that. I'm not
like you say this is. I'm sorry, I can say this a million times. I want to know how many people he's friends with that have shit on Anissa and him for the OnlyFans related stuff. I want to know if that number is more than one. I'm like, or is more than zero. And by the way, nobody would blame you also for not being friends with those people. That would be the most understandable thing in the universe.
I'm not gonna make you guys like meet up and kiss or anything. I get it. You guys are in fucking, you're either my best friend who's deep throating me to the base of my cock, or you are Satan. You're the devil.
The last thing I said to Anissa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. She's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Ethan, you can't even phrase it in a way that doesn't make you sound like you're being coercive and shitty. Well, then you should have no...
Coercive? Are we really co-opting the language of rape for every single fucking conversation we have now? Coercive? Like, what's next? You were asking her to non-consensually ask them to disavow somebody? Like, come on, get coercive? What are we talking about here?
Problem publicly denouncing it, right? Does that sound like a friend? It kind of sounds like something a powerful villain would say.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore. But that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay, do you have anything else to say for your friends though?
One of the reasons Anissa was so quick to clarify things in your Reddit is because your Reddit was already talking about who this editor is. And they were spreading misinformation that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we mentioned that it was
7 upvotes, 0 upvotes.
Was talking about who this editor is, and they were spreading misinformation.
What? Yeah, he is on a podcast with them, but honestly gets no views. The most upvoted comment, no, the other person on the podcast is someone else. Like, it's literally, oh my God, dude.
that it was our co-host on our podcast, Uncle Dane. So yeah, the last thing we wanted is this guy getting pulled into this mess, and you guys don't give a fuck. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out.
Okay, then just say that, because you're contradicting yourself then. So then it never, okay, so then Hila was regardless of what you think about Hila, she was 1,000,000,000% correct. Hila was right then. This isn't about you, disavowing as much as you feel like you comfortably can. It was that you agreed with what the other person was saying. That's what this is about. And that's what you're just saying now, right? He just said it. This is gaslighting. This is fucking, I hate using the psych terms, but it is. This is like crazy making gaslighting. Like you're trying to convince somebody, no, we just, we didn't feel like we needed to make a public statement because that would be inappropriate. But also it's because we fucking agree with them. And we agree that you need to fucking figure your goddamn shit out because you're fucking crazy, bro. You're crazy.
And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted.
And it's so funny too. Oh God, I'm so sorry. This is just the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry. I've been on the receiving end of shit like this for so long, and it's interesting to see it happening so publicly and so blatantly to somebody else, right? You're now signaling that when creators aren't speaking up and aren't saying anything, it's because they do agree with what's going on, which is basically validating every single thing that Ethan had said earlier and had accused you of. That when you don't say anything, when you don't make these public statements, people just assume that you agree. And it sounds like that is the case. It sounds like that's exactly what you're saying. Yeah, we do agree with them. We're going to wait till we can talk to you later on about it because right now you're being unhinged about it. You're having mental health moments about it. That's exactly what's happening.
You've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. I would be fine with you not brigading my comment section on my podcast that gets 3,000 views a week because I prefer to not do harassment campaigns and instead talk about vampires' kids.
And also, right, just whenever you respond to somebody doing stuff like this, calling CPS, supporting people that do it, wink, wink, nod, nodding to all these communities, you're harassing them. You're going on a harassment campaign. You're doing an organized hate brigade. So when you respond to something, it's harassment and it's hateful. But when they're doing it, it's, who knows? I don't know anything about them. LOL.
Yes.
Like they say something like he doesn't work for me, and I strongly disagree, and I support Ethan and Hila. The problem is
that she doesn't.
That's the problem.
That's
true, and she's right. And Hila was now with this video out. She's 100% vindicated. Hila was correct. They do support it.
The problem.
She actually.
She thinks they have a point.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So go fuck yourself.
I agree.
Go fuck yourself. What about your girl? This is what I'm talking about. This aggression that you're putting out into the world. What the fuck do you think we're gonna do? You think I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands when you do this shit?
It was in response to what you were already doing, though. This didn't come from nowhere. Maybe everything in life can be emblemized in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, because it's the same thing with the Israel-Palestine shit as well, right? Where when you're talking about the Jews, they have no reason to be mean to Palestinians. There's always some explainer for how the Jewish people are evil, and there's no reason why you should ever feel this way. But then when it comes to the Palestinians, well, there's a reason why they rape on October 7th, okay? And it's, it's a resistance, and it's not perfect, and it's because of, when Israel did this and that, and they, of course, it might not be the best, but like they, there's a lot of stuff they're dealing with. It's like, okay, so they have an infinite leeway to do whatever the fuck they want. But then when the other side responds, now you're going to be endlessly critical that they didn't respond in what you would consider to be the perfect way. And you're going to pretend like it's not even a response. You're going to pretend like it's unprovoked harassment.
Like, this is nasty. We had such a fair response to what you guys were going through. We don't support harassment. It's a bad thing, but it happens and you're perpetuating it.
You fucking propagandist, lying scumbag, terrorist supporter. He probably sets up a mirror and jerks off watching himself. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
You can't expect other people to stop harassing you if you continue to harass people.
But all of these things, and again, you can agree or disagree on I guess maybe the terminology that he's using here. Dan Clancy is not a person that Ethan Klein just decided to out of nowhere begin harassing because of, you know, whatever. All of these are paired with insanely substantive critiques of the unhinged amount of weirdly anti-Semitic shit that is for some reason allowed on Twitch. It's not a random thing. Now, again, if you're going to try to pretend like the criticism is people are just mean to us and we don't want people to be mean to us, then this criticism of Ethan is fair. But I don't think it's just that people are mean. It's that people get unhinged in a personal way and they don't even respond. They don't even respond to any of the actual points. It's just drama slop. It's just unhinged personal attacks constantly.
Let's think about it on a micro level. Have you ever been in a comment section and found someone to argue with? It doesn't stop.
Wait, what is this?
Ethan's upset with.
This was a month ago?
I think some of our connections, and you know, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse. So we want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything. So this is our, you know, lukewarm addressing of it. It's, you know, we're always open to talk, privately, especially. And yeah, we'll, you know, the door's always open.
Yeah, the door is always open. I want to, like, really drive it home. We don't condone harassment of any kind.
Condone harassment of any kind.
Is she about to say including what Ethan does?
Any kind, okay, period, which is why we have not stuck our foot in any of this, because it is not productive. I don't think it's helpful, and these are real people who have real feelings.
Oh, so how long did he work on this content cop for? Aren't these usually months in the making? So you're telling me that he said this at the exact same time he was working on a content cop, or did he just decide to a week or two later? And then what, did we change minds then? Did we say, you know what, actually, maybe some harassment is good. Maybe Ethan does need to be harassed a little bit. What changed from this to then, or from then to now?
It can literally go on forever if you don't want to touch grass.
I mean, yeah, this was kind of like a line, what happened today, that should never be crossed, even by like the most cynical, toxic people. It's going to have ramifications in terms of how I conduct myself. In terms of these fair weather friends who are, you know, so happy to be friends as long as they're getting something out of it.
Ethan, that is a rich thing to say. Like, you're the H3 podcast, okay? There's a lot of friends of the show. There's even more fair weather friends of the show. Let's not get into this shit, okay? That is so bizarre and insulting to suggest that I was only ever being friends with you to get something out of it. No, I'm friendly with you, and I'd say I'm a light friend, because it's been pleasant hanging out with you. I've enjoyed your content over the years. And as of late, it's gotten really fucking shitty.
So he's not friends with them? Or, because earlier he was like, you know, I'm just friends insofar as, like, you know, we've chatted online. The same way I'm friends with Denims is what he said. So are they not really friends at all then? Or what? Because at one point, didn't Ethan literally guest star in fucking iDubbbz content? Ethan is in the background of this fucking video. I guess they were just like acquaintances though. I don't know. Maybe he was just like, oh, let's just reach out to random people. Like, I mean, come on. Like, what do you, if you want to say you're not his friend or you don't give a about him, then just say that. Just say, I'm not going to say shit because I don't even like you. Just say that. Why not just say that? Be open and honest about it. Just say that. I don't give a fuck. Like,
your content over the years. And as of late, it's gotten really fucking
they collab together
shitty.
a lot? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so go fuck yourself.
I was never like an iDubbbz or H3 watcher, so I don't know. Maybe they even...
I agree.
Who else? Who else do we want to burn today?
Who else do we want to burn today? You're making it so fucking obvious that this is your emotional dumping ground. It's
what is this weird, like, kind of, it's this weird feminist quasi red pill co-opting of emotions and therapy, where like these weird like cringe wokies will do this thing where they're like, oh, you're just being emotional about this, or oh, you just need to go to therapy or something. It's like, what the f are you talking about? Does he not, maybe he is upset about this. Does he not have a right to be? Do you not have a right to be upset about how you feel like, you know, your friends are kind of backstabbing you or aren't being, you know, as loyal or supportive as you'd expect them to be, considering how, you know, much feel like you've been respectful of them in the past? Is that not a fair thing to feel?
It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are.
And who are you to say that? This isn't what podcasts are. What are podcasts, bro? What a weird gatekeepy statement to a guy that doesn't even have a real podcast. What are we talking about? What?
Emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are.
Thanks for the lessons.
There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive.
Oh, wait. So he is... Oh, God. This is the Palestine-Israel thing. It's with the example I just brought up. Their reactions are always justifiable, and there's always a good reason why they're reacting. The other person is just acting spontaneously. I have no clue why the other person is engaging in the behavior they're engaging, but I can give you a really good reason why I'm engaging the exact same behavior.
And attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you and a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
It's so easy to be anti-racist. Everybody's anti-racist. Racism is the worst thing in the world, right? We fucking hate racists. Fuck racists.
Microaggressions.
The minute that they actually have to stick their neck out for somebody, the minute they have to actually risk something to put themselves in under scrutiny, to sacrifice something personally to stand up for racism, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't want to get involved.
And that's drama.
How much do you care?
I don't do drama.
True.
How much do you actually care?
That's what they said exactly. That is exactly... Why would he even play this clip? They said they didn't want to get involved in any drama when they had nothing to gain, and they would have probably lost something by making a statement about it. But now he is getting involved in drama. Why? Because he has something to gain. And he literally showed off other content creators in his attacks on Ethan. Like, literally.
Isn't that the whole point? Like,
I realize that Ethan and Hila are more scared now than they've probably ever been. I feel like anti-Semitism is a thought in their heads now more than ever. And it's not completely unjustified to be thinking about that sometimes. You guys are just hurt and you're kind of like dancing around and making very like loose, poorly thought out analogies for something that doesn't even apply to us. It's
anything you can possibly do to avoid addressing the actual criticisms. You're hurt, you need therapy, there's something, you know, you got to talk to anything to avoid addressing the substance of what's being said. Anything.
It's like me making this video is the standing up for something, and it's saying
against
fuck you. You guys are being bad. You know, I don't think you're bad people, but you're being bad. You're behaving poorly. You're hurting people.
I mean, go back to the civil rights. You think that the people who are like the white kids who are protesting with the black students, you think that they were just like not risking anything? Those kids who are marching with the black students and...
So in Ethan's analogy, he's the black student and I'm the white student, but I'm the white student that's not, you know, marching by his side. I'm not doing the difficult thing. You're gonna have to march on your own, black student.
Marching with the black students and...
I mean, why is it inspiring? Why is it inspiring?
Well, and it's the same thing, to bring it back to Hasan just because, but it kind of is the same thing. Like, I was thinking about going to Gaza until I found out it's dangerous. He's a total performative activist that doesn't give a single fuck about the cause.
True. It's been performed exquisitely. Harassing one person and seamlessly transitioning into harassing another one. If anyone's been watching...
That's harassment? Is that our standard now? Anytime you criticize somebody or say something bad about somebody, that's harassment?
For the past fucking year, I'm pretty sure they have a good idea of your feelings about Hasan.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with Denims. Denims is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
Getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say...
It's just, you'll never... It's just a waste of time. I shouldn't even be complaining about it. Nobody will ever give you an actual response, a good faith criticism, or fuck it, even it can even be... It doesn't have to be nice. Just respond to like any of the substance of what's being said. But that'll just never, ever, ever be the case. It'll just never be the case that you can ever get anything like that. And literally all mean words, when you're talking about, I guess, one party, all mean words are the exact same. So if Ethan is mean to anybody, then he deserves to have CPS called on him. Or if Ethan criticizes somebody and then calls them a bad name or whatever, that's the exact same as people never addressing a single thing that he says ever, just calling him a genocide supporter. It's all the exact same thing. Like, it's so tiring.
Something to Denims. Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys...
Well, I like how he says it too. Oh, then what? Are we going to be criticizing you guys always? Yeah, like you don't? What do you mean? Like, I like that almost, I don't want to call it a threat, but he's like, well, if you were to, take that position, people would be on you guys constantly. Yeah, no shit, they are. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what is that? What are you even trying to say with that point? Hello?
Guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for saying that.
But that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is clean, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Yep. There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out.
A lapdog, but I will be the lapdog of all of these unhinged and crazy lefties. I will be their lapdog and come out and attack you because that's the talking point right now, because you're like fucking public enemy number one and you're the guy that has to be taken down. I will be their lapdog. Like, it's a lapdog to just say something publicly to support a friend. Like, this is such a blackpilling moment, bro. Content creators, streamers, whatever, these people are not your friends and they never will be. Don't ever mind fuck yourself into making that mistake. These people are exclusively clout driven in the most shameless ways possible. Holy fuck.
I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's
Yes, it
difficult
does.
and standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles
commendable,
admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles. Now we're going to talk about the BDS list. We're going to start off with Frogan because obviously this is like as bad as it gets. If you're following Frogan, that can only mean that you're anti-Ethan. Oh, this is not a good start. Love of the H3 podcast. You are following Frogan, so that means that you are anti-Ethan.
Keep in mind, by the way, he's about to do this whole thing about how, like, oh, so just following somebody is bad. Does anybody remember where the whole drama with Frogan started? Anybody remember what day 0 was of the Frogan drama? Unless I'm wrong, people are saying October 7th. No. Unless I'm wrong, and because I don't follow this stuff as close as you guys do, so maybe I'm wrong. Didn't this all start with Ethan silently unfollowing Frogan? I don't even think Ethan said anything, right? I think he just unfollowed Frogan, and then Frogan had an epic 350-pound white woman crash out, didn't she? Wasn't that the whole start of anything? I don't even know if Ethan said anything. He unfollowed her, and then she lost what little bit of her mind was left, okay? Choked off by the hijab she wears. The little bit of mind she had left was lost when she noticed that Ethan had unfollowed her. I wonder if that'll even be brought up here.
Sam, Morg Pie, friend of the show. Olivia, Ian, Daily Dose of Internet is anti-Ethan. Jesus, this is f***ed up. Pokimane, comment etiquette. Oh shit, Asmongold's in here? Asmongold follows Frogan? No, Asmon. That means you're anti-Ethan. That's up. We're gonna want to avoid these creators at the top of the list, but one tier below them are the creators who associate with them. They're essentially endorsing all of their statements. You got me, you got Anissa, I think Hasan's in there. You'd think that Hasan would be on the top of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hasan provides additional value for people. Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hasan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Denims of the world.
Well, I could be wrong, I'm sorry, does Ethan have a super positive relationship with those other podcast people? I don't even know.
Of the BDS list, but that's not the case. Hasan provides additional value for people.
I feel like this is the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the lines on the board thing or whatever.
Ethan can turn a blind eye to people collaborating with Hasan because that's what he did. You gotta be the lowest of the low to be associating with the Frogans and the Den.
Also, I'm willing to bet, and I haven't watched it, but I'm willing to bet Ethan was probably super critical of those people that did platform Hasan uncritically. That'd be my guess. Like, what do you mean?
Of the world. To associate with Hasan, that just makes sense because he's famous and he's got a massive fan base. Also, Ethan still follows Hasan on Instagram, so Hasan is in his feed.
And that's showing up right up on us Nissa's and iDubbbz feed.
Yeah, but nobody has to guess. Like, it's such bad faith. Nobody has to guess whether or not Hasan or whether or not Ethan has a favorable opinion of Hasan. My guess is going to be that, not my guess, I'm sorry, I know this because I'm not a fucking retard. And you know what? Despite being a fucking retard, Ian knows this as well. Ethan is not saying, please unfollow these people. Ethan just wants some kind of public statement of support. That's it. That's it. You know that. But that's all he's looking for.
It's important to remember that this is a living document and people can be removed or put onto it depending on how Ethan's feeling that day. You have this other tier of creators that exist below Hasan but are still anti-Ethan, but Ethan really doesn't want to bring your attention to these ones because it's kind of unpopular, you know? A lot of them are famous.
It also ignores the fact that, and there's video footage of this, I think multiple times. Somebody can link that second thought clip right now, actually. And Ethan goes over this in his Hasan content nuke. Not that Hasan will watch it and not that Ian will watch it, because of course they'll avoid that like the fucking plague. Hasan will watch this, by the way, before he even watches his own content nuke, LOL. But Hasan literally explicitly says his goal is to trick normies. Hasan's goal when he goes on shows is to trick people like Ethan into thinking he's more moderate than he actually is. That's not a conspiracy. That's just literally verbatim explicitly what Hasan says. He's already watching it? Nice.
It's no coincidence that Ethan stays silent when these powerful, popular men are supporting Hasan.
Are these people Ethan's friends? Hello? Does Ethan expect these people to say anything? Does he have close relationships with these people? What is, like... give me that second thought clip also, please.
LOL.
It's because Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. I think Ethan has an unreasonable amount of respect for these comedians because they have power, they're quick, and I think he knows that they don't fuck with his ideology.
My God.
But he's gonna keep that to himself because the last thing that he wants to discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't.
Yeah, Ethan is maybe he does actually. I don't know. Ethan has a huge respect for like Theo Von. This is a guy he looks up to, and he's afraid of fighting with him. Like I don't even know this. I don't know if Ethan has a personal relationship with any of these people. I just don't know. But okay.
To discover is that people that he respects and looks up to, they don't fuck with him.
Bill Burr came on. It was like the worst fucking show. It was just horrible. That was like my lowest moment on podcast history. We could talk about Bill Burr, ruined my life. Bill Burr made Ethan go on Lexapro. I was prescribed it and it was in my bedside. And then it was the Bill Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hasan's stream.
I don't understand. Didn't Ethan admit that he fucked that interview up? Like, I think everybody sees it that way. I think Ethan himself sees it that way, no? What does that have to do with anything that we just watched? Like, he's trying to draw this connection that Ethan is afraid of criticizing some people because they'll fuck him up. I don't even think fuck, dude. I think I watched parts of this a long time ago. Was this Ethan trying to like, you know, fuck with Bill Burr and hold him to account, or was it did Ethan just like fumbled the interview hard, or just didn't have a good flow and just kind of I don't think it was him trying to call Bill Burr out or anything, was it? It was just kind of awkward. Yeah, like this isn't even a okay.
Burr episode that made me finally start.
When Stavros goes on Hasan's stream and he mocks your content nuke.
I actually saw a really interesting video about you, man, and I don't know that I'm even comfortable being here anymore.
Oh no.
It really kind of shed light on you in a way.
Yeah.
You kind of like have leftist politics and stuff like that. And I actually feel betrayed.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually just here to let you know this is the last time I'm ever coming.
You don't fire back because you're coping. So you're just going to tuck your tail between.
Does Ethan have friendly relationships with these people? How does he miss the point so hard on this? What?
Between your legs and never mention on your podcast that mentions everything. You're bringing up some fucking connection I have on Twitter. Someone mocks you on.
You've lost the ability to criticize him bringing up that connection, though, because you've already explicitly said the reason why you didn't say anything is because you agreed with it. So I don't even know why you're bringing this up. Like Ethan was wrong to make that assumption when you've explicitly said that you agreed with it.
A stream, you're not touching it. Fuck you, you're a coward. It's just his job. It's just what he does.
Like, I don't know, maybe Ethan is. Again, I don't watch the fucking podcast. Is Ethan afraid to call these people out? Is that why he doesn't say anything? Or are they just not his friends and he doesn't like...
For his job. You know, he doesn't mean it. We're actually good friends. You know, he makes fun of everyone. It's not just me, right? Oh, also, I can't forget about Matt Lieb. Matt Lieb is in this like middle tier. His value.
Matt Lieb is one of the most deranged, unhinged, lefty, lunatic fucks on the internet. He's just a crazy, 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 insane person. But
association is
this just like peak content creator brain? Do people lose the concept of what a friend is when you get popular enough? A little bit. I think that the issue is, again, I've said this a million times, in the content creator world, there's a lot of very weird pressure to be friends with certain people or to not be friends with certain people. It doesn't exist in conventional human relationships. So right now, there's a huge pot of gold. Not like explicitly like you're going to earn a lot of money doing it, but there's like a huge reward for Ian, coming out strong against Ethan. There's just a big reward for it socially. There's a lot of people that are willing to give him a pat on the back and congratulate him for being so brave. And that's where this type of stuff comes from. And you don't really see that in the real world and for real world relationships or real world friendship dynamics.
Rhett and Link. So Rhett and Link, conveniently, are also in this category of popular and powerful men who Ethan does not want to burn bridges with. Although he's sniffing around.
This guy, Matt Lieb, he works for Good Mythical Morning. Of all people, this guy, Matt Lieb, who apparently is a producer for Good Mythical Morning. Well, this guy works for Good Mythical Morning, acting like he's wholesome, and he's bringing on somebody that wants to kill my wife, or in a video game. And I think he should be fired, frankly. And I hope he is fired. He's pathetic. And he interviewed basically a terrorist.
I think Ethan only respects power right now, which is one of the reasons I made this video in the first place, is because he thinks I'm weak. He thinks a lot of these other creators that he's gone out of his way to attack, he thinks that they're weak, and he thinks they're a target that he can bully, he can manipulate, he can send lawsuits to. And I want him to know that we're not going to be bullied. You're being a piece of shit, and we're going to call you out.
So here's the button. You've got a video and you've got an audio. We're hitting both.
This isn't even a content cop. This is just basically Ian just crying that Ethan isn't a pro-Palliadol. It's so cringe how much this cringe shit has warped and corrupted and rotted the minds of every fucking community on the internet, even supposedly apolitical communities. God, it's so cringe. It wouldn't be as cringe if people at least knew the first fucking thing about it, but it's just so cringe how much people stake their entire reputation on this shit that they couldn't give a fuck less about. Whatever.
Yes.
There's no point.
Let's leave.
Yeah, there's no need.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Oh, shit. Like, how pathetic are you? Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll go on your way. I don't like pedophile. like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach. You'll be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. Yes, please. I want to be a good Jew. I'm a good Jew. Please, guys, please.
That was fine. Yeah, I don't think it was that.
That was fine.
Big a deal. Of all the things that you're always surprised.
True. GGG chatter. Dem Aegon. It's so insane that Hasan, someone who plays journalism, is like co-signing this high school drama slut when he didn't even have the balls to directly respond to Ethan's political criticisms towards Hasan. That's true. Ethan does a full-ass video responding with substance, and some of it is mean, but with substance to all of the shit that Hasan said relating to the terrorism supporting shit. Hasan is too much of a fucking coward to even watch it on stream, okay? But Hasan is willing to help Ian do another high school tier drama slop response to Ethan. It's actually so cringe. Holy shit.
Surprises me what you think crosses the line.
Well, I looked at Olivia and she's like, yes, do it.
Now let's talk about the button. Ethan got this button or killed.
Oh, now he's going to bring up the when he attacked his employee on stream. Oh my God, dude. It's unreal. This whole thing is unreal.
Switch as a response to the controversy with Cutie Cinderella. He was not able to control himself in that moment, and instead of figuring out how he can change his behavior, he spent $20,000.
Dan and Ela were like, we would kill button that right now if we could. I can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
By the way, these like types of switches are completely standard in every live broadcasting environment. Always. Everybody, mainstream media uses these. Everybody uses these. There was a famous example. God damn, this was 12 years ago? Do I have one? No.
When the guy pulled over and got out of the vehicle,
they were following some event here, and he kills himself, and Shep Smith is calling for the kill button. Well, not this kill button. Maybe that's not a good way to refer to it here, but he was telling people to push the button, basically.
Tragedy that unfolded as viewers were watching on live television late this afternoon. A car
about this.
As the man pulls over on a dirt road, the anchor Shepard Smith sounds wary.
This makes me a little nervous, I gotta tell you.
The suspect on foot now runs and stumbles, gun in hand.
It's always possible guy could be on something.
At this point, we're gonna pause the video as the man ends his own life. On Fox, however, they did not cut away on time.
Get off it, get off it, get off it.
He was calling for the button there, was to, because they usually run the broadcast 5 to 15 seconds ahead of time so that you can cut out for live broadcast in case something like that happens and they f it up. So this isn't, I like how he's like, oh, Ethan did this because he can't control his emotions. This is a pretty standard thing for live broadcasting, but you know, whatever.
Can't change who I am.
I know. That's why the kill button is on its way.
That's it. See, exactly.
He uses the button for everything. If his jokes don't land, he's hitting the button.
It was being presented as if the Jordan crying thing.
I hit the button.
Why?
I don't think I needed to, but you guys were giving me crickets, so I panicked.
If he's insecure about getting something wrong, he's hitting the button.
But okay.
You button?
What? Button for that? What on this frame could Ethan have responded to? Perhaps the country flag that he got wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
If he goes on a problematic tirade, he's hitting the button.
Before, look how sad. But yeah, it's not just that. Like their eyes are like big. I think you guys are wrong on this one. I think you guys are all wrong on this one.
I don't think he's unique in hitting the button. I think if all of us had buttons, we'd hit the button all the time. But if you don't have it, you operate differently. You think about what you're saying. You maybe plan for your show a little bit more. You maybe say, I'm not going to have my podcast be an emotional dumping ground for today. You instead say, ooh, it's important that we stay on topic. Also, the H3 community and Ethan himself use the phrase Goblin mode all the time to excuse a lot of his shitty behavior or make it seem less bad.
I've been diagnosed with Goblin mode, actually.
By claiming that what happens is he just gets into this like uncontrolled state he refers to as Goblin mode.
I do not call myself Goblin mode.
Yeah, you did.
Goblin mode? Is that what you're calling Tourette's now?
To all victims of Goblin mode, I would like to issue an apology.
Well, you are Goblin mode today.
You're goblin mode. Look how many times you paused the
I'm trying,
video.
bro.
And I don't think there's no room for using the term goblin mode. I like the idea that you're defending yourself and the little guy by going goblin mode when a big corporation or a big entity is trying to attack you.
Like, if you fuck me over, if you steal money from me, if you...
So it's okay to go goblin mode against big corporations, but not okay to go goblin mode against... Okay, that's great. I love that. The oppressor-oppressee dynamic, by the way, is where all critical thought goes to die. When you view everything through the lens of bigger versus smaller, it is the most thought-terminating cliche that you could ever embrace.
Patronize me. If you do any of this shit like you're trying to do to me, to treat me like a fucking idiot, I'm crazy, dude. I've gone fucking goblin mode over way less.
But you not thinking about what you're saying, not, reflecting on your behavior, not changing your behavior, that's not goblin mode. That's being a child. Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew has been put in the worst working environment that you possibly can be for a fucking podcast. Every crew member has it bad. To be around Ethan, period.
And now the isolation, always. This is a key part of the way these online communities, all of the snarker communities function, is always the isolation time. You always have to target people around the person that you hate, because if you can't have the influence you want on the person you hate, you can at least try to peel off every single person from around them.
It would be a nightmare right now.
I'm standing by every fucking syllable of that, okay? What she did was abhorrent. And by the way...
Just don't. Listen, your critique of her is correct. It's just, people are sensitive about women being called that word. And so...
Like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm not assuming his pronouns. And fuck all these people. Go ahead.
No,
and I'm
no.
not yelling at you. I'm just...
Wait, I don't know. Maybe Ethan originally said that? But the way this is edited right now makes it sound like Ethan was saying to him, to Dan, this is Dan, right? Was saying to Dan, how pathetic are you? Was he, or was this cut from something different?
Word. And so...
Like, how pathetic are you? You know what I mean?
Well...
Because that's what this is edited to make it sound like. Like, he was saying that to Dan. How pathetic are you? Maybe he was, though? I'm not sure.
I'm not assuming his pronouns. And fuck all these people. Go ahead.
No,
and I'm
no.
not yelling at you. I'm just...
Kelly is a black woman, right?
Yes.
Maziel is a...
Korean.
Oh, Dan, come on. You're being such a buzzkill. Yeah, I didn't know Korean. I asked if Koreans are POs.
He's using H3 snark shit? I don't know. Maybe he might be. I don't know. I don't follow this, but it's close enough. But
God.
Dan's in the bathroom. Let's just not do this right now.
I asked if Korean people are POCs.
The one time the button didn't work and we listened to how he spoke to AB without...
This is the most non-drama thing I feel like I've ever heard in my entire life, is this upcoming thing. Oh my God.
Without thinking that the internet was going to hear it. It was rude, it was nasty, and it didn't have this caveat of like, I'm not mad at you. It was anger, and it was uncalled for.
They get access to cover most of
We're
it.
doing it.
What are you
It's so
doing?
awkward and terrible.
I'm sorry, I'm not...
Just like, this is what I'm talking about when it's always like...
We need to get home for our kids.
It's like, bro.
Oh, no, I didn't want to finish it right now. I'm about finishing Wednesday.
On Friday, maybe. Is it?
You guys, like...
All right, I'm taking my hand off the...
Like, that was like crazy abusive. Camera cut away and he didn't know people were listening. This is how he really treats the place. Like, really? This was a huge snark moment, by the way. All the snarkers obsessed with it. It's like, this is the horrible mistreatment of the employee. Like, really?
What? Okay, well...
I heard all that.
Thanks, Button.
And he didn't want to take accountability for it. He immediately wanted to deflect and he wanted to say that the button fucked him.
First of all, I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And I
know.
loved it, and I really enjoy it. But it's like every time we do it, it's like the show is what it is, and
I know.
it makes it.
I was being selfish.
No, dude, that button f***ed me, dude. Can you imagine that button f***ing me over like that?
The button fucked you? AB fucked you? Who fucked you? You fucked yourself by being an asshole.
The thing that fucked up here, by the way, was the button, because what Ethan said, there's no problem with what Ethan said there. If you want to criticize somebody because you think you're slowing down the content or whatever else, that's totally fine. But you probably shouldn't make those types of corrections in a public-facing manner, right? Employees should always stand together. Management should stand with employees. Like, you should always have a unified front here. If you want to criticize your employees or something, you don't do it in front of other employees generally. You don't do it in front of customers, for sure. It's just super rude. So It was kind of the butt in the fucking mirror. Because I don't think Ethan said anything that was like super fucking out of line. Unless there's... No, there is no other part. It's so stupid.
Makes it seem like he's not a tyrant of a boss.
We're doing it. Really? That's a tyrant of a boss? Have you had any real jobs in your entire life ever? That this is what you're describing as a tyrant of a boss? Really?
What
are you doing?
So awkward and terrible. I appreciate the hard work.
I know you do.
And
I
I
know.
loved it, and I really enjoy it.
Dan, his producer, is constantly clarifying things on the air and making it clear that what Ethan said was a joke. Ethan is being overly defensive, or he's saying things that are like not true and he's exaggerating.
People saw that. They thought that that was what you searched to
I did
pull
not
up that
type
photo. So I'm just clarifying.
Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate you doing that. God forbid.
It's okay because I buttoned it.
Why?
Because
it's not that big of a deal, man.
Just your inability to.
No. Hold on, Dan. How does it change anything? People knowing that we did it.
It's fun when it's a surprise.
Okay, well,
Well, you just asked how it changed
Surprise
things.
them on your show.
Okay, all right.
You know, I understand that that's...
These are this is abusive employees? Like, hello? What?
His role, and he's... You know, Ethan's made that his job, or Dan's made it his job. Ethan leans on it so heavily. In the same way that he leans on the button. Ethan is leaning on all of these people
Except
to
his
be
own
adults
behavior.
and look after his behavior and give all of this emotional and empathetic energy for Ethan, but Ethan refuses
Oh
to
my
give it back
God.
to them. Also, let's talk about AB and Lena, 2 Lebanese employees.
Oh
and
my
you just
God.
continue to talk about the conflict like they don't exist. It would be nicer, a lot nicer, for you to shut the fuck up about it. You're allowed to do that.
Hezbollah in Syria alone killed double that much. All right, I'm going to move on. I just want to play Hasan talking about bad empanada.
Ethan doesn't want to change, and he wants to bring the entire crew down with him. Because he's putting them in this position every day, right?
Like, isn't the fact that Ethan is willing to hire and work with people who are or who are descendants of people from the Middle East, doesn't that demonstrate that it's probably not some callous disregard for Middle Eastern lives that's leading to his, current position on the conflict?
But it's more important that he gets this shit off his chest. It's more important that he dumps. We're all familiar with Goblin mode. Well, Ethan debuted a new mode recently.
And by the way, my ratio is pretty good. Like, I'm looking at like 20 Goblin modes to 1 too far. Demon mode, let's call it.
What makes Demon mode different than Goblin mode is goblins aren't really like an intimidating, powerful force. If the goblin is persistent, it can get what it wants.
When I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week, my full attention is going to you, George. Like the Eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach.
Ethan, the reason the internet got behind you when you were being sued by Matt Haas or when you were being sued by Ryan Kavanaugh is because...
This is such a lazy video. It's just a shallow overview of snark threads and previous videos already made by other people. It literally is. It's just, all of this stuff is just, but it's because nobody can respond with substance to literally anything that anybody says about the Israeli-Palestinian stuff. It's why for me, they fixate on whatever personal drama or personal shit they can find. For Ethan, it's the go to therapy and do this. For anybody else, it's like, are you Israeli or Jewish in ancestry, or is it the CIA or the State Department? There's always something different. It's never a response with substance to any of the points, because at the end of the day, they're retarded and it's indefensible anyway.
People saw you as the underdog. They saw you as the guy who's defending the common man.
I'm suing, and I cannot wait for you guys to read it. At the moment, we are writing 3 complaints for 3 people.
You are doing the classic rich asshole thing. You have a deficit of friends.
Oppressee.
You have a surplus of enemies. You feel really bad. You feel hurt. But you also have a surplus of money. So what can you do? You can use that money to bully and intimidate people. These public legal threats that you're making to fellow creators, these legal threats that you're making to people on Reddit, on Twitter, you're like, I'm hurt. These people are hurting me. What do I do to stop it? There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm powerless. No, you have a ton of power.
Are we going over like the CPS stuff at all, or what are we gonna, are we just gonna pretend that none of that happened? Also, he's about to say you have a ton of power. What is the power? Because it sounds like if he responds to any of them, you say that that's harassment and bullying. Is suing somebody harassment and bullying too? Like, is everything harassment and bullying, or?
You have a ton of options. You have a ton of choice.
Wait, like what? Because he can't respond to them on stream because you said that's harassment. So that's not an option. Apparently you can't sue them or do anything else if you feel like something really wrong is going on, because that's also harassment. So what are the options? Is he going to say it? I want to hear him say, what are the options? You can't ask your friends to take a stand for you because that's coercion. What are you supposed to do?
Powerless. No, you have a ton of power, you have a ton of options, you have a ton of choice. That's exactly what you get for being filthy rich, is you can do all of these things.
Do what? What thing?
I'd never want to sue someone for defamation, but like at what point do you kind of fucking have to? I mean, this is like basically someone calling you a pedophile. Be like, yeah, no, Ethan's a pedophile.
Dan Clancy or whatever, like the CEO of Twitch, and being
pedophile. Dan KKK Clancy has a similar view of Hitler. Because
okay, the pedophile comment was dumb, but I think didn't Ethan walk that back? The pedophile comment is dumb, but again, and this is the thing that they always gaslight you on, and it's I think it's especially gross because Ian knows how this all plays. It's not just somebody being mean about you. It's not just somebody being defamatory about you. It's holy shit, I realize how women and black people feel in the United States now. The earlier analogy was right. It's not just somebody saying a mean thing. It's not just somebody being unhinged. It's not just personal attack. It's all of this stuff combined happening immediately and happening constantly and being supported by every single person and being ever present in every single community that's outside of yours, and then everybody else telling you that it's not happening is the mind fuck. If it was one person, Ethan wouldn't give a fuck if Hasan had said, oh, I hate Ethan, he's a pedophile. Ethan would probably respond to it once and move on. It's every single day having large content creators signing off on when medium content creators are drafting content from snark and doxing communities that are gathering information on you and attacking you in the most unhinged way. And it's this whole system of stuff that's happening constantly. And then when it doesn't work on you, then they apply that same pressure to everybody around you. And it's just this over and over and over again until you break or bend to whatever political or social whim that they have. That's the issue. It's not just a one-off thing. If Hasan had, or not Hasan, if Ethan like tried to set his whole community up to like go in on fucking Dan Clancy's personal life, you know, over and over again, I would say, okay, you're starting to hit the comparison point there. You're starting to approach what Ethan is talking about, but it's not just a one-off comment.
Dan Clancy, the Nazi, fucking anti-Semite.
And like the fact that he would throw the Nazi and anti-Semite comments on here, like it's the same thing as the pedophile comment. The pedophile comment was stupid and out of line, okay? Or I don't even know if I would say it's out of line. These people are crazy, who cares? But the Nazi stuff, that's rooted in some kind of substantive critique, right? What you can disagree with it, I think it's hyperbolic, but that's not coming from nowhere. But we won't see him actually address where it's coming from, of course.
There are certain things you can accuse people of that rise above to make it like actionable, which is like wrongfully accusing someone of being a pedophile, a sex criminal, a murderer, shit like that.
Dan Clancy now, in other words, he is a pedophile.
You have so much less to go off of saying that than anybody has about
based
Dream.
on his looks. Just on his based on his
Well, at least you're self-aware.
That's 100% a joke. I have no evidence to conclude that he is.
Oh, so it's not even... Like, he even says this at the end. Now, you could say it's an inappropriate joke for sure, but do you think people are joking when they say Ethan abuses his kids? Or when they say Ethan is a genocidal freak supporter? Or when they say that Hila, by the way, was actually part of the IDF's crew to break into houses in the West Bank and abduct and murder innocent... Like, the other side's not joking when they say any of this. The fact that Ethan even explicitly said, like, come on, bro.
One of the more notable legal threats that Ethan has sent out recently is against Noah Samson.
I have nothing but vibes to gain, and potentially your money as well. Don't worry if you don't have it all now. I'll garnish your wages.
Did you see the NLRB whistleblower? He says, I don't know, don't care. If anything more comes about it, I'll watch it, but I don't care. I don't like just listen to random whistleblowers say shit. Show me something, otherwise, don't care.
You're going to be living with your parents for a lot longer, buddy. 26, you know what I mean? Try 46.
Noah made a video that was critical of Ethan and other content creators when they're talking about Israel and Palestine. I mean, the way he's talking about Noah on his podcast is so creepy and weird.
Is this a new thing?
This is a new thing. This happened during the show. Upon initial examination, it seems to check out, and it's not great for young Noah.
Can I say that? Don't say it yet.
I'll say it.
So he's a rape. So of course his standard. I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say. But
Ethan brought on a former.
Okay, this stuff is semi-retarded. Dan kind of did this stuff with Dan Clancy too. I don't know why people fixate on drama that's totally unrelated to anything. I want to say that, but there's another part of me that says, you know what, actually, f***ing go for it. Because if Noah's going to call me a sex pest or whatever, if these guys all want to do it because of some crazy shit and, you know, whatever, whoever wants to allege whatever in some lawsuit, which you're free to do so, okay, until you get crushed in it, which I'm eagerly awaiting. If you want to do that, that's fine. But then when somebody makes the same accusation against you because you're lying to your girlfriend so you can f other people and maybe give her STDs, which was the whole reason why you weren't supposed to lie about it, yeah, then fuck it. If you're going to greenlight those attacks, then fuck it. If other people want to go on you in that way, personally, I think that those types of attacks, just because they're not relevant at all to the situation, aren't really, they're just not worth it. But like, you have no high ground to stand on there.
Partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was.
That's it?
I don't know what he's accused of, so I'm not actually going to say, but
Ethan brought on a former partner of Noah to basically just shit talk him and say that he's a bad partner. But that's all that Ethan was able to extract out of it.
You are not accusing him of committing any crimes or doing R-word or anything like that. The accusation is that he's a sleaze.
Absolutely. Noah Sampson, as far as I know, is not a rapist.
Fuck you to Noah Sampson, who's not just a liar and a scumbag, but also a creep. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now let's talk about...
Okay, so again, like, I wouldn't fucking go in on shit like this because I think it's cringe and retarded. However, the thing that fucking, I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, okay, because I didn't watch this because I don't give a fuck about shit like this, but the thing that Noah was accused of was supposedly him and his girlfriend had an agreement where if they were going to hook up with anybody else, you had to communicate that because people were trying to be careful about STDs and shit like that. And apparently, Noah Sampson was lying to his girlfriend so they could fuck some other chick and wasn't telling her that he was doing so. And she felt like that was really gross because now she's potentially getting diseases or whatever. And she didn't like that. Okay. Now, should Ethan go in on this? I personally think it's retarded. But I guarantee you that if I did something like that, people would be calling me a rapist. People would say that you're having sex with a woman and you're not telling her what your sexual history is, potentially subjecting her to STDs. She wouldn't consent to sex in that environment. You're basically raping her. 1,000,000,000,000%. These people would be calling me a rapist. So I'm not going to have much sympathy there for Noah. And I like the way that Ian just like kind of hand waves all of this as saying like, oh, well, you know, he was just a creep, LOL.
The left-leaning Democrat.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
The thing that made me start to question Ethan's intentions is that when he was suggested to talk to Sam Cedar, a fellow...
Oh my God, it's actually so cringe. When Hasan couldn't defend any of his positions, so Hasan was like, why don't you go talk to this other Jew who agrees with me about everything, and then maybe you'll come around? Like, that was a good faith suggestion on Hasan's part.
Progressive, a guy that Ethan respects and looks up to.
He works with Sam Cedar at the Majority Report. I respect him and what they do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to...
Because Hasan was literally giving Ethan like other Jews to listen to. And that was his argument for why Ethan was out of line with his position. Because before Sam Cedar, this was the same conversation, right? Where Hasan was like, what about the Jews for Peace or the Voices for Jews for Peace or something? Isn't that what it was called? Like, what about those guys? Like, this is literally what Hasan was doing, was appealing to token Jews to try to get Ethan to change his opinion on shit.
Suggests that he...
But we're gonna leave out... Fuck, dude. Somebody put an idea in chat. I'm never doing this because I'm too lazy. Somebody should do a fucking show, and they should call it Context Cop instead of Content Cop, and just be like, okay, what's actually being talked about here? Like, what are the actual... Because again, for some reason, nobody can ever bring up, in good faith, what are the actual accusations being made? Why are people actually upset about a particular thing? Why are people actually... And then deal with those. Because, by the way... Arguably, Ethan's not even beyond reproach. There are things that you could probably legitimately criticize Ethan for insofar as how he's handled different things or how he's communicated or messaged on certain things. There's probably things you could criticize him for. But you're not talking about any of those things. This is just a personal hit piece.
You do there.
He kept saying that it was racist or anti-Semitic to suggest that he talked to someone who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I
urge.
I like how he doesn't even say like someone else who's a Jew. He's like someone else who's within the same genomic ancestral GWAS pairings, like
who's within the same ethnic group as him.
That's why I said yesterday, like, I urge Ethan to talk to Sam Cedar. There are very thoughtful, very kind anti-Zionist Jews out there that he could talk to.
God.
I don't think that I will be able to reach him.
What's the insinuation that I only listen
like that Ethan just can't understand because it has to come from another Jew? Like, oh my God, bro.
Other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of.
Like, if anything, Hasan, as a Turkish person, should be able to communicate this to Ethan way better because the Turks have engaged in way more genocide. Bro, Israelis cower in fear at how mighty and amazing Turkish history is when it comes to genociding huge groups of people. Israelis are jealous. They wish that they could genocide with 1/10 the efficiency that the Turks could do it. If anybody could communicate, anti-genocidal or whatever talking points to Ethan, it should be another fucking Turkish person. Like, fuck.
What's the insinuation that I only listen to other Jewish people? You need to talk to my pre-approved list of Jews that like agree with me on everything. It doesn't matter if they're Jewish, dude. It doesn't matter if they're fucking Jewish.
I think most Jews.
I don't think Jews at large view it. I don't think that is the.
In what position are you to even say that?
It's not motivated by myself. It's motivated by Jews against anti-Zionist Jews.
Seriously, how can you speak for my entire ethnic group? I find that really interesting.
Ethan,
these clips aren't displaying any hypocrisy. Hasan is making a claim about what Jews think writ large, and Ethan is saying, how could you even say that? That's one, it's not true, because Hasan is always fucking lying, okay? And two, you wouldn't counter that by saying, well, you're saying that... So, Ethan, you claimed that Hasan is misrepresenting the positions of all Jews. Well, why don't you talk to Candace Owens about what black people think? Oh, I'm sorry. Why don't you talk to Sam Cedar about what Jewish people think? Like, how does that further your argument? Hello? How fucking stupid is this? I wonder if Ian even wrote any of this fucking script. This all just feels like a rehash of all the exact same talking points from Hasan, Denims, Shonda Black, Frogan, Noah Sampson, Matt Lee. Like, these are all the exact same stalker talking points that these guys have hashed against Ethan for the past fucking year and a half. Like,
really interesting.
Ethan, I don't know what to fucking tell you. This is like step one of having a leftist ideology, is recognizing our race, religion, nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
Oh. By the way, and shit like that, not to do the cringe fucking Republican talking points, but this is partially why Democrats might have an issue, or especially leftists might have an issue communicating with people, is this idea that like, hey bro, like I know that you don't like my talks on single payer healthcare or anything like that, but I found another darkie to talk to you, bro. This guy's black like you. He lives fucking rap. He wears his pants low on his hips. This guy, he's got change. Like, you'll love this dude. He looks like you. He's the same type of guy. He could even be your brother. He might be, for all I know. Like, listen to this guy. Talk to this dude. He'll fucking learn you some good shit, man. Haha. Bro, let's go. Like, what kind of, like, Ethan has a brain. It works. You can just communicate ideas to him. It doesn't have to come from another Jew for him to understand the point.
Nationality, all this shit, all shape our experiences as people.
That's the reason why it'd be better served to have this conversation not with myself, but with an anti-Zionist Jewish person.
Why does it matter if they're Jewish?
Because I'm not Jewish, and you've said in this conversation that, like, how can you tell me how to feel about the situation?
No, what Ethan said was, how can you say that Jews feel this same thing that you're saying they feel when all the survey data and all of the actual polling positions completely disagree with you? How can you say that? That's what that was in response to, but okay.
Yeah, but how is one person a representative of Jews at large? I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret.
The difference is Hasan is citing a contrary opinion, right? So for instance, when I say black people in general in the United States don't feel like they were lucky to come over on slave ships, and you go, well, Candace Owens could actually tell you a lot of cool stuff about that. That a lot of black people are really grateful for slavery, that they can be here now instead of wandering around as hunter-gatherers in sub-Saharan Africa. It's like, well, hold on. I don't think Candace Owens speaks for all black people here. Oh, ha! Oh my God, got him. So you do speak for all black people? You see how those statements were exactly the same? You claim that black people generally didn't approve of slavery, and I claim that I know one black woman who can speak for black people that do agree with slavery. See how we're making the same type of statement? No, that's not the same statement. What a stupid point.
That phrase.
So yes, Ethan, on occasion you might be suggested to talk to someone who has some crossover with you. It doesn't have to be your ethnicity. It could possibly be someone who shares progressive ideology with you. It could possibly be someone who...
But that's not why he said. That's not what you just said. That's not why he said you wanted to talk to him. Here's another progressive. It's because he was Jewish.
Is of your same gender. I think Ethan understands this concept very well. He listened to these women on his show when they told him that he shouldn't be calling women bitches.
This bitch is intolerable. You are such a nasty fucking bitch, Ken.
I don't know if you can call her a bitch though.
She is a bitch. She's a fucking bitch. You're right. I call her a see you next Tuesday.
I'm curious what do Lena and Sam think about it.
I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah.
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 I feel like that it's for the girlies, Ethan. But I
So
agree.
you guys all seem to be
Yeah.
in consensus that it's
Wait, so the girls on this show are comfortable pushing back on him, and then he listens to them when they disagree. But I thought you said earlier that the Lebanese people were being held here as literal Arab slaves because nobody on the show could push back on Ethan's opinion ever. So Ethan must have fired these two people immediately after, I'm guessing, right?
in poor form. I think to respect the women here in the room, I'm going to have to pass on saying that.
I would never be able to do that. I would fight all three of these chicks to the death.
To respect the women.
In the moment, though. A week later, I'd admit I was wrong.
And here in the room, I'm going to have to pass on saying that.
The infantilization of Ethan Klein is fucking nauseating. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hasan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things with Hasan. He's not a child. He is absolutely capable of looking into Hasan, learning about his politics, interviewing, doing loads of things to figure out where he stands.
He presents himself as someone like me, a left-leaning Democrat who supports basic things.
And for the first time, I noticed an inordinate amount of radical, hardcore leftists. I mean, I thought we were social democrats, not whatever this was. This comment from Hasan really started to sound some alarms in my head. I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership. I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hasan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the big...
Show him! I need the clip now, or I'll just spend the next 5 minutes looking for it. I don't know. Hold on, wait. It's the clip of Hasan talking about how he tries to trick people with his beliefs. Like, I wonder if Ian will bring that up at all here, but he probably won't.
Then I saw clips like this where Hasan is explaining how he's hiding his power level to funnel in normies into radicalization.
I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, you know, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing it.
Wait, fuck. Thank you.
But it's really hard to find accurate.
Okay, we're listening to the whole 4 minutes of this, okay? I'll speed this up a little bit. This is Second Thought, Tanky guy. Tankies are radical ML Marxist-Leninists who believe in killing and murdering people in order to further their political ideology. That's not an exaggeration. It's explicitly what they want
to do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a pretty run-of-the-mill radicalization process. You know, Bernie came around, and I was like, oh, wow, he's saying stuff I haven't heard before. Yeah, why is our healthcare so expensive? Stuff like that. And, you know how it goes. I heard the rhetoric like, oh, he's not actually a socialist, he's a social democrat. I'm like, okay, what's the difference between social democracy and socialism? And then I'd, read a little bit more about that. And then the turning point for me was when I picked up State and Revolution and read that. And then this thing started to click.
Great book.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. For anybody who hasn't read State and Revolution, it's short, it's easy to read, it stood to the test of time really quite well. He's a funny guy, like sassy. I love it. It was an interesting process because, a lot of Americans, myself included, were by default kind of apolitical in that it doesn't really affect us very much. You might dislike conservatives depending on where you live because they're loud and obnoxious and racist and all that stuff, and so you've got a gut reaction, negative reaction against that. But that doesn't mean that you consider yourself political. And I was that way. But it's really hard to find accurate information here in the U.S. when everything from, you know, our textbooks to like children's shows to, you know, sitcoms as you grow up to the news to movies, blockbuster movies, it's all so steeped in anti-communist propaganda, you know, even to this day. And it's so you have this ingrained cultural revulsion or fear of anything that is seen as un-American. And that term has been so heavily conflated with left-wing economics, left-wing politics. I mean, properly left-wing, socialist and beyond, not the Democrats, which are clearly a right-wing party.
What do you mean? The Democrats are, I thought they were communists. What the fuck?
Yeah, that this morning, now that they've arrested their political rival, Donald Trump, we are living in communist America.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Exactly right. It's when the government does stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, it's frustrating, and it's why I made my channel the way I did when I, you know, not to sound conspiratorial or anything, but like when I had my eyes open to the reality of how the United States actually works, I was like, okay, how would I have wanted this explained to me when I was first learning about this stuff? And so that's why I took the 101 approach, because, you know, the average American it's not just that they're starting from square one, they're starting from like square negative 30. You have to first pick apart all of the things that have been programmed into them, and then you can start to build upon a basis of reality.
You're describing the reason why so many people simultaneously consider me to be a Democratic Party mouthpiece or a suck dem or whatever the fuck, but also a threat to America as well, because I do, just like you said, I do advocate for social democratic reforms, and I do think that in order to develop any kind of mechanism of pushback, a robust labor force that has any kind of, you know, speaking power, any kind of fighting power to strike at the heart of the imperial core where value is generated, I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. Despite, you know, I perfectly understand that social democracies benefit tremendously from American imperialism, Western imperialism, and would not exist in the way that they do without such atrocities committed, right? But, you know, if you want America in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, you know, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond, you know, social democratic ideas.
I just wanted to like put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hasan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized, and so on. Can only work and can absolutely utilize, for example, the stuff that Hasan does, because Hasan does one very particular thing that social democrats that, for example, we would never call to this podcast or we would give a lot of shit to, because they cut the funnel from both sides. What do I mean by this? They introduce people to, you know, lukewarm socialist ideas, etc., and then they want to keep them there, right? Well, whenever Hasan introduces people to socialist ideas, yes, the lukewarm, not so scary sounding ones, you know, keeping your power levels low, hidden, and so on, he does not stop them from progressing through the funnel and getting additional information and so on. He doesn't agitate against, for example, the revolutionary perspective and so on and so on. That is the main difference. You know, you do your part in the funnel for the cause or whatever the fuck you want to call it. We'll talk later about, you know, if what we're doing actually does anything, etc. But as long as you do not try to keep people exactly there where you want them and don't want them to evolve, etc., then you're doing, in my modest opinion, a great thing for the cause. But unfortunately, there's a lot, especially for example on Twitch, motherfuckers that do the opposite, and they just they want to farm their audience as much as they fucking can, and then they generate drama, which is almost 99% with other socialists, etc., and that
I stay away from all that noise.
Exactly, and that is reactionary shit. That is quite literally like anti-progressive and hurts the movement much more than it helps. So yeah, those are the two different
I hate wreckers, right? I mean, they've always been around, and I think originally wreckers would operate like almost like in a way that, you know, you salt a workplace, right? Like they would come in, they would have a different ideological perspective, and they would do these things. Nowadays, I think in America, especially American exceptionalism, American individualism, American capitalism is so ingrained in the minds of people that like they do it without realizing. Like there are plenty of forms of what people would consider radical politics in leftist spaces that people engage in, where they are unintentionally doing wrecker shit without recognizing that they're doing that. You know, you have anarchists, radlibs. I mean, I guess there's more historical precedent to that. But you have so many different flavorings of, like, you know, the Nat socks or whatever, which is hilarious because that's just the most like anti-materialist perspective. You can have like nationalism in that regard, and all this other stuff, you know, that people engage with, and it just purely is that fight is purely fought on aesthetic grounds, which is inherently one, a mystification of class politics, and two, very liberal. It's the most liberal thing you can do to be like, oh my god, like you wear expensive clothes, like you're fucking not a real leftist. Like you need to, as a leftist, you need to, or as an anti-capitalist or socialist, like you can't have a house. You can't make money.
You need to live like an ascetic.
Yeah, which is inherently like it's inherently anti-socialist. Like I'm no dentist, right? But
Like the entire point of what Hasan does is to serve as a funnel to more radical places. He's not actually a sockdem. He tries to catch people when they're young in their political journey so that he can prepare their minds for more socialist slop and then sends them further down the line. Like Hasan is completely and totally open about all of this. He is completely open, completely honest. He said all of this. This is 2 years old. He said all of this. So for this type of mindfuckery to happen, and for Ian to be like, well, why did you have him on your show? Like, he literally explained this. Ethan has this in his content nuke about Hasan. He literally says it.
It's annoying.
This is in Ethan's video.
In and of itself, but like I rarely ever engage with like I would say like even liberal or leftist infighting because I think it's unproductive. I think it's harmful. I think it's stupid, and I think that even if I disagree with a content creator's worldview, even if I disagree with where they're coming from, there are always going to be people in their audience that might be a little bit more radical in their politics or ripe for radicalization, like those in the margins, who I would much rather have on my side than against me. Especially if they're like moving the needle in a direction in the United States of America that eases some of the burdens that the working class would experience.
So that was that for this episode. I hope that you learned that Hasan is not just a sotsdem cuck. There is some actual complicated brain patterns emerging there, and that obviously we're all a part of the same funnel. And as long as how he ended the conversation, as long as we help this funnel grow and help this funnel expand without shooting each other in the foot, this is all a great way of moving forward.
So Ethan didn't know that he was part of a funnel to more radical ideology.
With our partnership, I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
You made how many episodes with Hasan? Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking left.
Like, how fucking retarded are you? How stupid must you be if you're fucking iDubbbz and you don't understand? Like, it's explicitly stated what happened in Ethan's video, but iDubbbz just can't understand it. Does he not speak English, or does he not
this program? You did. You made fucking 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy. You didn't have a problem with any of it until Ethan talks about being a. You didn't have a problem with any of it until
Until what? It wasn't about them disagreeing. It was about the truth. But whatever. It's even worse. It was about the unhinged treatment of Ethan afterwards. Like, they still made shows after October 7th for quite a while. Like,
Ethan talks about being aware of Hasan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic.
What is this slop? What? Wait, so Americans did deserve 9/11 in the truest sense that there was no hyperbole there? Like, what? In that case, Hasan does support terrorists. He does, actually, right? None of those things are jokes. Like, what?
That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism. You could have looked into that. You could have talked to Hasan a little bit more and found...
You don't think he has?
...out what his international politics opinions are. But you wouldn't even need to do that. You can look at it online. You're not a victim. You weren't tricked. You made 60 some odd episodes. If you didn't want to go down this route, you shouldn't have done it. But that was your fucking choice. You did it. You are an adult. When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews. I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
Ethan is not speaking for all Jews and that he's delivering some cryptic message communicated on the Kala that only Jewish people are perceptive. He's just going by, broadly speaking, what Jewish people feel, which is true. Like, you can allude to things without being a spokesman. I can tell you on average what Indian people feel about anti-Indian racism in Canada. I can tell you on average how young Asian men feel about anti-Asian, propaganda, anti-male Asian propaganda in the United States. I'm not Asian. I'm not Indian. I can tell you on average. It doesn't mean I'm a spokesperson for these people. But if I was to give you a contrary take, well, to what I think on average these people say, well, I would have to have some kind of different sourcing for that. It's a different claim to state like this is what a group believes versus let me tell you what they actually believe, right? Those are two totally different things. I can't even believe I'm explaining this. This is like intuitively obviously true. Like everybody knows this.
No single person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my God.
Israel, this is a lie that I see Hasan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never, I don't believe that that's ever been stated. And I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like, I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
No, Israel is much stronger than that. Israel would prefer if every Jew came back to Israel. Either I've got a hugely incorrect reading of that, or Ethan is reading what Israel says about itself way too charitably. I think Israel would be very happy to see all these Jewish people go back to Israel, and that it is the sole place where Jewish people can be safe or whatever. That's how Israel markets itself. But
Israel is just a place Jews can go. With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's
not even true. God, it's so cringe. How could you be so fucking retarded and feel so confident talking about any of this shit? Well, I guess he's not really talking about it. It's just drama slop at the end of the day.
All you're defining Israel as is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden they have the perfect defense. Oh, another thing I need to mention. There was a tier list. It was called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list.
God.
It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted.
He's about to play defense for this.
Ethan
lighthearted
Klein
and fun.
Saw that, and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list them, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can.
This is just slop. It's snarker slop. This content cop is unironically just snarker slop from all the other dog shit videos. And it hurts me to say this even, okay? Because I don't like to compliment any of these people, but it's not even as good as those other videos. Like Noah Sams's video, I think, was just a better video than this. This isn't even a good video.
Say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like a white guy who's like, can I say it? Is it a slur? And then love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like that is a word that's used. Habibi, it means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your Habibi. So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it. Because it's not like they have massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on
Is that true? They don't have a massive representation on the platform, but the largest or the second largest political streamer is shilling for their entire cultural identity every single fucking day. I'm sorry, who are your huge Zionists on the platform? Where are the Jews on the platform? What? What was that fucking comment? Are you serious?
On race. And nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this.
That's the best. This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hasan.
Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
We can't put this as an F. Cracker. I mean, that's got to be at least a D, right?
Pale face motherfucker.
Pale face. I mean, again, I think that's an F.
Ethan, well, sorry. Increasingly, you can't. I was going to say, this is different because Ethan is white. It's not the same thing. As the guy who is famous for doing the N-word tier list, you would think Ian, of all people, would understand the difference here, right? But nowadays, Nazis don't consider Jewish people white. I don't even know. Maybe leftists don't consider Jewish people white anymore. I'm actually not sure. So maybe now we've moved on to a world where we don't say that anymore, and the only white person involved in this skit is Hasan, who is very clearly and obviously white. But like, it's not the same thing.
Hog. So hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hasan feel...
Also, they're not... I don't think they were...
An F. Hog.
Were they putting streamers on this list? Hello? Wait, it's not the same thing.
So hog is my favorite. I use it all the time.
Him and Hasan feel as though they are white guys, so they felt very comfortable talking about white slurs on their tier list.
I think I'm more white than you. What do you think?
I think I'm white. Like, I'm super white.
Can you understand why Arabs might feel comfortable talking about Arab shit on their...
What if they had a... I'm trying to think. I don't even know what word you would use. What? Like, imagine you have like a tier list of people who had really good fathers, and you stick a whole bunch of white streamers at the top, and then Sean DeBlack comes up, and you're like, you know where he's gonna go. Bottom. Like, that's the equivalent to what we're talking about here. Like, why are you pretending that slur list? I don't even think was calling out other streamers. Like,
tier list, Ethan, you're the white guy. You think you're more white than Hasan.
I think I'm more white than you.
So yeah, the white guy can say all the things that he wants, like cracker. But the Arabs can't have their tier list.
Oh my God, dude.
I would put him also in Arab. I know Turkish people are different.
Notice how they dropped the premise almost immediately that it's about who can say Habibi. And then it's like, Hasan, okay, actually, he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that...
Also, Turkish people are not Arabs, okay? So please stop this, okay? Don't confuse... The Persians are Iranians, largely speaking. Arabs are smattered all across the greater Middle East region. Turkish people are not Arabs, okay?
That they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how like mixed Israeli culture is. Like,
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
Except when they were talking about their list, they literally said this guy can't go here because he's a Zionist. They literally explicitly say this when they're doing the list. Like, it's such a dog whistle.
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic, you're just gonna eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just...
Yes, tell me, please, about Arab culture. I'm sure Anissa has educated you so much. Has she ever even been to the Middle East? Or was she born in America and has been here her whole life? I'm curious. Has Anissa ever been to the Middle East in her life?
Proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra.
None of these people understand Arab culture. What are you talking about? All of these people are born and raised in the US of A. You think Denims has spent a ton of time in Arab culture? Frogan threw on a fucking, I was gonna say threw on a Habibi. What's the head thing called? Hijab, and calls herself part of Arab culture. These are the whitest, most online, like super online people. They all went to college. They had middle-class family and upbringing. These are Americans, all right? These are Americans through and through. They might have last names that would imply otherwise, or they might be a slightly darker shade of white than you, but to pretend like they have some keen or unique insight into the Middle East or Middle Eastern culture, when I don't even know how many people have ever been to the Middle East before, is a fucking joke. And it's racist. Fuck you. Like, culture is some sort of like ethnically essential part of your identity.
A lot of people like me who eat Sabra.
Fucking, yeah. Frogan was on a show talking about how horrible Israel was. This is like a few months ago and didn't even know what the fuck a Druze was. And she says she's fucking Lebanese, right? Like, what the fuck?
A lot of the times it's all that's in the store and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna eat it.
Link me the clip.
It is not
Somebody
the good
link me the
shit.
clip.
Like the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the US. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody prefers Sabra over homemade like restaurant quality hummus. You know, it's what's there.
Like weirdly fluffy.
It is
Sabra.
fluffy.
Weird.
Yeah.
I would buy it sometimes and eat it. It's not the best.
The problem is with Sabra, in my opinion, it's only good for the first 2 days.
For some reason, like when you eat this Sabra shit, it just feels so much heavier. Imagine eating a whole fucking vat of Sabra. That's crazy.
Yeah. I've never liked hummus.
Oh, okay.
Well, you hate Jews then.
I don't.
And Arab.
Just one day after the October 7th massacre a year ago, Hezbollah joined the war against Israel. It launched an unprovoked attack on our city, killing civilians without distinctions. Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze.
Okay, so they said that they're killing
Druze we talked about last time. It
Druze. There was the village in the Golan Heights.
By the way, I'm pretty sure Lebanon has the second largest, I think, population of Druze in the world. By the way, the first is, I believe, Syria. Who knows how many are left? But I thought you were Lebanese. I thought you had a huge tie to your culture. Like, how do you not?
The rocket came down and hit kids playing soccer, but everyone says Israel shot the rocket down and it hit the kids playing soccer. That was in the Golan Heights. Muslims, it killed one person in Palestine. It hasn't killed any Christian Palestinians that I'm aware of, or any Christian Israelis, and it hasn't. I don't think.
Druze.
And I think it killed Jews. I think it killed IDF soldiers. So I think Hezbollah has not killed anyone else.
Israel has decided to put an end to this. We've decided to do whatever.
It's completely impossible to be Lebanese but not know what Druze is, because she's not. She's not Lebanese. She's an American. I don't even think there's. Would you even consider there to be like a Lebanese ethnicity? Like there are so many different groups of people that live in Lebanon. There was supposed to be the tri-equal religious representation in the fucking government. There might be people who are considered. I actually don't even know that, but she's an American. She doesn't know fuck all about the Middle East or fucking Lebanon.
Where is necessary.
She knows about. She's from Michigan. Okay.
People safely to their homes.
By killing people.
Israel has a right to defend.
Listen to this part.
Israel also has a right to win, and Israel will win.
Israel has a right to win is fucking insane. That's
crazy,
insane.
chat.
To win what?
Return to where to Lebanon?
No, what they're saying is they're trying. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to get rid of. He's bullshitting. The people, okay, he's got over 100,000 people in northern Israel that will not go back to their settlements in northern Israel.
Goodbye, go back to fucking Brooklyn, bitch. Like, you have your...
That's racist, by the way. That's a racist dog whistle. Arabs love to use this one on Jewish people, is the idea that Jewish people were never actually from the Middle East ever. They didn't exist in the Middle East ever. Jewish people are all transplants from either Europe or from the United States. But, you know, we're not going to call that out.
Fucking house there.
Okay, so that...
But whatever.
Arabs.
Yeah. This is racist.
Yeah, it's almost like you can have a discussion about Sabra hummus being a bad hummus without it being at all related to a Jewish thing or an Israeli thing. He can have that discussion as much as he wants on his podcast.
In Lebanon, we make fun of these people, OG. Everybody makes fun of Americans that do that. For Americans that say that they're Irish or Italian, when they're American Irish or Irish American or Italian American, everybody around the world makes fun of Americans that do this shit. Arabs are not unique here. It's cringe.
Because we all know his intentions aren't anti-Semitic.
This is what he did. He hit his heart hard.
The Zionism is leading to...
Well, how is that? He was literally showing something that Elon Musk did. Are we pretending like he was... What was even the point of that? Hello?
Not accepting other cultures, embracing their own culture, and instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast...
Wait! Did he just say, how can Ethan interpret this as an attack on him? Didn't they literally call Ethan out, literally explicitly while they did that demonstration? Didn't Ethan come up and they put him on the bottom of the list explicitly? Didn't they say that in that same presentation? What? He's on the tier list. He's literally on the fucking list.
That other cultures embracing their own culture and instead thinking that that is an attack on you.
The next person is one of my favorite people, Ethan Klein.
I told you guys to clap.
This is a good reaction.
That was a good one. That's good. All right. Turn that up. Turn giraffes.
We all know where this is going.
Okay. I like how we're getting audience input. They're like, fuck what you guys had to say.
Dude, where's the? You guys are missing a category for Zionist.
What does that have to do with Sabra, though? What? I'm so confused right now. What does that have to do with Sabra? And it's so funny because Ian is going to retreat to the exact same excuse that he used to use with his content that now he calls out. And I know what he would say. Ian would go, well, come on. That was just a joke. Whenever somebody says it's just a joke, your next response or your response to that should be, oh, okay, that's fair. What's the joke? Tell me why I'm supposed to laugh at this. I'm curious. I just want to know. Can you tell me what the joke is here? What's supposed to be funny about this? Own it. Also, by the way, if you want to make jokes about this, then fucking A, do it. I think you should be allowed to make these jokes. They want to make fun of Ian for being even fucking Jewish. Fucking, hey, dude, this is the United States of America. You should be fine doing it. But don't pretend like it's something else. Don't pretend like that's not what you're doing. Okay? At least fucking own it.
That was a joke. That was just a joke in my.
Denims. Well, obviously it's Love Sabra, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
That's easy. That's
Definitely Love Sabra. All right, so there he goes.
Are we being messy?
Yes.
Good.
You put him as number. Yeah.
Security. Security.
We got it clear. Next is XQC. Damn, I'm missing.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so mean. We should at least move him up one.
Let's put it on Love Sabra, maybe.
Yeah.
He's like its own category.
It's its own category.
He's in.
I'm Sabra.
Yeah.
The bottom.
I'm next to Ethan.
Mike. Mike, I'm sorry.
Don't make him kiss, dude. Don't make him kiss.
The panel has decided.
Yeah, we're not debating here. You guys, I may look like Hasan, but I'm not him, honey.
You don't look like Hasan. You look like Miskip. We already said that.
The next person is Myth. Arrow.
Okay. Like, they mentioned him like 3 or 4 times in this video, and he's like, why are you making this about you, bro?
Sure. And instead thinking that that is an attack on you. There's this incident on the podcast where they were reacting to Cutie Cinderella, and Ethan was laughing during it. So that ended up being a pretty important wake-up call for Ethan. He made an apology video directed at Cutie Cinderella, and it was graded by a professional psychologist, Dr. Kirk Honda of Psychology in Seattle. And Ethan got an A+ rating.
In terms of a public apology, this is A+.
Ethan won't stop talking about his A+ rating.
You know, he rated my apology to Cutie Cinderella a perfect score, a perfect 10.
A perfect 10 out of 10?
Literally 10 out of 10. Go back. I can teach you how to make a good apology. I'm the best at it.
10 out of 10.
I know what a perfect apology is, lady. You fucking don't. Is my perfect apology in this PowerPoint?
Dude, I got a perfect 10 out of 10. This one is actually best apology, so.
Ethan Klein, you guys, oh my God.
I was trying really hard to think about an impactful moment during
I'm gonna be honest, if some psychologist guy reviewed my shit and said I ever had a 10 out of 10 apology, that shit would be in a frame in the back of my stream.
this video. Like, could I do something that would really wake Ethan up? And I don't know if this came from a good place or not, but I came up with the idea of...
Oh my God. Of bringing Kirk on stream to criticize Ethan's behavior. No shot. I actually like that Kirk Honda dude, or at least I've never seen anything cringe or bad from him. Is that what's about to happen?
Getting Ethan's grade changed from an A to a B at least. So I went to visit psychology in Seattle. I'm not confident that Kirk will change his grade, but it's worth trying, and you know, we might learn a thing or two.
Xander! Probably get pretty low marks. Unlike me, perfect score, 10. I said, hey, Lud, no wig drama. Why are you such a spineless coward of a person now that you've inserted yourself and your girlfriend into this conversation?
Okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, bro. What a fucking based god. Oh, this guy did the same when I think Brittany Simon got to talk to him about some comments I'd made about the body remembers and trauma because Brittany's illiterate and she tried to read this book and didn't understand it. And she tried to like super load a question against him to say that I was like pro raping promiscuous women, and he saw right through it and fucking answered her correctly. Oh, hell yes.
Brother, this guy stinks! Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade.
And that was even after Ian showed him a fucking Hitler salute montage of fucking Ethan Klein, so...
But that's okay, because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system, so I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric. When Psychology in Seattle was watching these video clips of Ethan, he said that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit, because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think something that's very important to me in...
Wait, so were they just mentally troubled and they needed like therapy, like you said before on your podcast? Or were they just venting and being emotional? I thought you said over and over again. I thought I heard him say that earlier that, oh, he's just being emotional right now. But now it sounds like he's not being emotional. Now he needs, like there's something else going on, or I don't know what the fuck Ian's position is on this now.
Bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been, and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human, because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive,
like this type of shit. I just want you to know, and that's fine if you pretend, but don't pretend like you care about mental health or any of that cringe shit. Just be based. Tell people to kill themselves. Make fun of people who are on SSRIs. Make fun of people who have depression or anxiety or GD. Just do that. Just embrace the I can't say the words on stream anymore. All the slurs and everything you used to. Just do that. Go full in on it. But don't do this lefty bullshit of like, oh, you're presenting, these criticisms of what another person is saying. Well, maybe you're actually just fucking crazy, dude. Did you ever think that maybe every single thing you're saying is just the result of some huge mental health ailment that you're not capable of perceiving? But me, who exists, by the way, among the ranks of your harshest critics who constantly perceive, maybe I am able to perceive that thing that you're not. And I am able to diagnose you with that problem. And I am able to tell that every single thing you're saying is just coming from a place of deep insecurity and deep depression. And you just need to log off and touch grass and take a break. But like, this is the worst type of gaslighting in the universe. The internet was a better place when Ian just said the N-word. Like, it is the most mask-on, deranged type of criticism that will make you feel fucking insane and is intentionally framed to do it that way. Like, just go back to saying slurs. At least it was a more honest presentation of what you actually felt, instead of pretending like you care or give a fuck about any of these people.
Sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him, because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why.
This is not... Can I get Dr. Kirk on it? Somebody connect me. Give me his email. I want to rate these types of compliments. I just want to compliment you and say that you're authentic, or at least you were. That's why people used to be drawn to your stuff. I just want to compliment you, say that you used to be somebody that people watched your content to see how authentic you were. You're not anymore because of the current issue we have. This is not a compliment. Hello?
Your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein.
That was at least a genuine compliment.
I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly, when you are being lighthearted, and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best.
That's not a compliment. These are so transparent. Wait, am I crazy? Or are these not the most... that was not a compliment. Hey, I think you're really good when you don't talk about shit that actually fucking matters. Just put on the fucking hat and dance, clown. Okay, that's not a compliment.
So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to...
Just as a... do I even have to say this? If you're trying to compliment somebody that you have an issue with, you're trying to do this thing where you say a nice thing, but your compliment can't start with used to. That's not a compliment. That's an attack. You used to be so funny. You used to be such a cool person. You used to be so awesome. You did this. That's not a compliment. We know that you don't like them now. That's the whole... That's part of the reason why you're fighting.
I want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit.
Oh
that was
my
pretty fucked up,
God.
and fighting it, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought
You used to be cool 8 years ago.
that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil. I'm like, fuck, it's really hard.
Oh my God. The thickest rope. The strongest. Are you actually serious? And you make this somehow about you crying like a fucking baby? Bro, dude, I wouldn't be able to do it. If I was Ethan, no, I do this actually. Fuck it. I wouldn't kill myself if I was Ethan. I would dab on the haters. And I hope Ethan does dab on the haters today. Oh my God.
To be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, if that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
And I have been kind of slipping into a very unhealthy place where it's gotten worse and worse, and I get criticized more and more, and I get more defensive and more pulled up, a feeling of almost infallibility that I could take anything on. It led me to make a lot of mistakes. And then when I was criticized for those mistakes, then I would act extremely defensive and nasty and not really processing them in a healthy way.
It's so unhinged. You know what the answer is Ian hates Ethan because Ethan did what Ian tried to do but wasn't able to do. And that was transition away from doing overwhelmingly negative type content without being a soy fuck that nobody liked anymore. That's the real reason why Ian can't stand Ethan, because Ethan did largely transition away from, we'll use the soy word, problematic content, right? And he did do that. As have not a lot of people. Actually, most people that try to do that failed fucking miserably. I did. I think I did a pretty good job doing it. Ethan did. Ethan did a really good job doing it. Ian wasn't able to do it. He was one of the creators that fell into the soy chasm, which is where you try to step away from problematic behavior, but then as a result of that, somehow you lose the ability to be funny or entertaining or to deliver messages that don't just seem contrived and pandery. And I think that's the real reason why Ian made this, and he was pressured by a whole bunch of other soy fucks on the internet as part of these weird snarker, anti-fan, lunatic fucking communities. And that's where 80% of this video is coming from. Jesus. Fantano was the same. Oh, Fantano is another one that fell into the soy chasm. True.